Peace and love, people. Peace and love. We've finally got the show ready for you guys. The show that you guys have been waiting for, asking for. And finally, it's here right about now. So, Family Tree, if you guys would like to come on, jump on, and have a nice full panel discussion, I'm going to post the link for you, okay? I'm going to post up the link for you guys so you can come on. But before we do that, guess who I've got on my channel? I have the Kabbalah Master himself, the comedic creator of the universe. I have Rich King.
Please go out, please.
That's good. So I know you've got a presentation, literally lined up for us. So if you can come on and give us like a nice little intro, let the people know, and then let's kick it off.
Okay, cool. Well, basically, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Egypt and this and that, and people's not really questioning the text of the Bible and certain things that were saying in the Quran. So I've come to expose some of those things today. Basically, so if you can see my screen, I'll just go into some of it now. Don't know how much of I can do because it's like a 200p, but bear with me.
Are you able to maximize your screen?
Maximize. Hold up.
Top left-hand corner, most probably.
Top.
The green button. Yeah, the green button. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Is it gonna work?
Computer's a bit slower. Hold up. I can't see my presentation.
All right. Boy. We'll just let it flow. Let it flow. If it's not going to work, let's just keep it moving. Because I know the people been waiting for this.
All right, cool. Hold on, my computer is making it. What's going on?
So bear with us, family. Bear with us. So as this is to load up.
Yeah, computers are moving a bit slow, but I'll get there.
All right. As we're waiting for Rich Kids want to load up, I'm going to see what the family's saying, right? Because you lot dropped a few good topics that you want us to discuss. So I'm ready when you guys are actually ready. Just make sure you jump on the panel like some ASAP rookies, okay? So jump on as soon as you can, and we'll see. So we've got Rich Kid about to drop some heavy heat. Bear with us. He is gonna, really give you guys some serious information. So I'm just waiting for it. Right now we're gonna be hitting on a few biblical topics, few comedic topics, and it's gonna be amazing. Trust me on that. So Rich Kid, let's know what's happening right now.
Okay, I just have to load up at my PowerPoint. 1 sec.
Mm-hmm. So family, who's seen the video on COE with me, Brother Terry, as well as Scattered Minds? Who saw it? Who saw it? We're discussing homeschooling. We're discussing, how are we going to set it up? If we're going to implement it, if it is indeed homeschooling that we need, do we need institutions? What type of curriculum? What type of children are we trying to rear or produce? And what environments are we going to try to relocate them in? So, very, very, very interesting conversation on COE. If you haven't checked it out, he did literally a world premiere of that video. And that was, it felt good, man. It felt good. It felt good. It felt good to actually check on it and see what's good. So Miss Southeast is definitely involved for that. Miss Southeast, are you here for the popcorn or are you going to be jumping on the panel with us? Let us know, because I really would love to hear your voice on this now.
All right. Are you seeing me, Kalam?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really good with all this technology that I'm getting.
All right, Miss Southeast. That's what I'll do. I'll be your mouthpiece, okay? I'll be your mouthpiece. So just fuel me with information, and I'll make sure, as long as you tag Titans TV, better yet, let me actually make you a moderator. So it helps to highlight you a bit more. All right. So I'm going to add you as a moderator. Okay. Usually I will talk through you. Yeah, yeah. Callum, did you go down to the Tommy case today? No, this is another thing I wanted to discuss. I actually, was so looking forward to, sorry, for a whole month, I've been looking forward to this. But unfortunately, fate already. That fate just soiled me. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go down there. I've tried to catch up on a few of the videos. I was actually watching it live. So shouts out to UK Free State or Free State UK. That was good. Like he was like my first introduction into the event today. He was down there from early 8. It's like roughly around 8 o'clock. Just after 8 o'clock, his live stream started, and I was like, yeah, I was on it. Full stop. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, please go on to the other media channels that covered Tommy Robinson's event today. Ezra Levant on Rebel Media, as well as Free State UK. There was a very good live stream as well from Ruptley. That was awesome. Okay, so please go and check out these great channels that's producing these really like presenting these events to us in real time. So it's just so wonderful to actually have this out here, because normally we go onto the news and we're just hearing a skewed picture, but when you get it from the people that's in there, like actually there, giving you a real live broadcast of what's going on, you can just feel the atmosphere. You can just feel how the people are feeling at the moment in time. You can hear how the crowd is erupting. It's unfiltered, it's uncut. You can hear the live speeches, again, unadulterated, unedited. So it's just absolutely awesome. So please go check out some of these channels and watch it, please. Jean Wallace says she missed her flight. Apologies, man. Apologies to you. Sorry. So we got Plip 5 says, big up Times TV. And Brother Callum, oh God, I love you for that, man. I really think you are onto something with the schooling idea, but I am concerned that you are only going to be for Black Betman and not all the community. All right. I like that. I like how you're thinking. So those of you guys here, you know me, right? My mind is quite broad into, like, I'm broad-minded. So I'm kind of like, a universalist or all-inclusivist, right? So for me, I don't think this situation, that's why I kind of brought into the idea, what about the school system do we need to change, right? What about the school system that we actually need to change? What don't we like? How is it, adversely affecting us? And of course, you didn't get to see the lady who was next to us as well, right? It was a hijabi woman, okay, hijabi woman, Muslim hijabi woman. I'm not too sure what her ethnicity was, but we're talking about that. We was keeping it open where everybody can kind of come in and give their input about this subject as well. There was another individual that came in as well, and we're keeping it open because it's for everybody. I'm a person who's saying that, like, we need to change things as a whole, right? As a whole, we need to change things, but in that being said, let's take realistic steps. Let's take realistic steps. So if inside of our own communities or our own micro communities, let's start there, right? If we're able to, if we're part of a Christian community, let's start doing Christian homeschooling for Christian community, because that's what you might need to teach your children. Muslims, same as well. Jews are doing this as well, right? If you're, part of the Black community, do the same thing. If you're part of the Welsh community, you need to, and you're living in the UK or England itself specifically, you're now being indoctrinated with English values and ideals and the language, but like you're losing your culture and your heritage. So guess what? Have some Welsh schools. Teach them who they are as a people, and also understand that the education system is set up for a certain way. And you have to start thinking, what do I want my child to be? Who do I want my child to be? Right? And then educate them in that. We can all do that individually as ourselves, right? So if you want your child to be a doctor, you don't need to wait for the child to reach to the age of like 21 when they now go through doctor school or anything like that. Start teaching them, like start getting doctors who can come, like, stimulating them with that type of ideas and stuff. So, I'm a universalist, but of course we need to help our individual communities as well. So let me jump onto this. So Rich Kid, are you ready? Oh no.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool. I'm gonna just let it go, man. Do your thing.
Okay, good. Just checking to see if you can see my screen and stuff. Yep. You see?
Right now, it's just sharing your screen. Oh no, Ho Kerry, where did you go, B?
Got it?
Okay, so yeah, we can see your screen. Just put it onto the presentation.
Okay. Exactly. Can you see it now?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I just wanted to, I'm not going to read too much because, like I said, I've got a cold and it's a long slide, so I wanted to go for a lot of things. But I just wanted to show people what they were saying about Egypt in the past and Jesus. Okay, can you read that for me, Kalam? Hello.
Sorry. I can. It says here, the effect or remembrance of what Egypt accomplished at the very dawn of history has influence in every nation, every age. It is even possible, as Four has said, that Egypt, through the solidarity, the unity, and the disciplined variety of its artistic products, through the enormous duration and the sustained power of its efforts, offers the spectacle of the greatest civilization that has yet appeared upon the earth. We shall do well to equal it. The Roman Emperor Severus collected all writings on the mysteries. Okay, no?
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so the Roman Emperor Severus collected all writings on the mysteries and buried them in the tomb of Alexander the Great. And Diocletian destroyed all their books on alchemy, lest Egypt should become too rich to remain tributary to Rome. Wowzers.
So there we go. So we already know what Egypt contributed to the world. What the rest of the world is doing is trying to crap on Egypt and then basically propose their religion. So I'm going to show you what some of the early church fathers were saying about religions back in the day. And like I said to the audience, forgive me, I just came down with a sudden cold. So if I don't sound too clear, just let me know. Okay, this is Augustine. He said the hypothesis addressed certain fundamental points of contention surrounding synoptic problems, such as how reliable the early Christian tradition is, which gospel was written first, whether there were others unknown sources beyond the gospel, to what extent, if any, the gospels were redacted, and so what extent the gospels were altered between the time they were originally written and the time their first survived manuscripts appears. These are other matters are rise and alternate revolution proposed by proponents of competing hypotheses, such as the two sources. Hypothesis, it's related to Q. Now, if anyone knows anything about the Book of Q, these are where they were collected manuscripts and they were naming them like Q1, Q2, Q3. And I'll give you more information on that and suggest that you get the book. Again, we come down to Alexander. What was he saying? As we have already said Clements believes that allegories incites the believers to discover the hidden meaning of the scriptures. So we're saying some of the scriptures are allegories, so don't take a talking donkey to mean that donkeys talk. He's saying, look at the allegories and then go deeper to find out what the sages were trying to convey to the mind. This is what he means. Other scholars state that the biblical author, inspired by the Holy Spirit, used allegory to keep the simple Christians from doctrines they are not matured enough to handle. So what doctrines were they keeping from the Christians? If we have the Bible in its totality and it's true, what secret doctrines were they keeping from the Christians because they know they couldn't handle these kind of conversations? So let me go in. Oops, on the wrong page. I was going to show you these two Israelites talking about Ishmael and Israel. two black brothers sitting there talking about which one came first, the bondwoman, the free woman. Listen to it. Now you can read that verse for yourself, but like, let me just get to show you quickly. But he was with a bondwoman, was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was born by promise. And they stood there for 20 minutes arguing about that same point. But if they came to 24, it would have said, which things are an allegory? I mean, what are we talking about here? It's not stating what they're stating, because they're reading the Bible and they keep saying to us, we don't understand it, but I know they don't understand it. Why? Because the early church father, what did he say? Unless therefore a man of God, great grace, receive the power to understand what is being said and done by the prophets, the appearance of being able to repeat the words of the deeds will not profit him, if he cannot explain the arguments of them. So when we ask questions like, was there a talking snake in the garden? Don't just say, yes, there was, and it had 6 legs and it's a metaphor without you explaining what the metaphor was. We move on. What did they say? Origin. What did he say? Sometimes Origin denies the literal meaning. For example, he says, could any man of sound judgment suppose the first, second, third day of creation had an evening and a morning where there was yet no sun or moon or stars? Question mark. Aren't we asking that same thing today? So your earliest church father were talking about these things that doesn't make any sense to the senses. He goes on to say, or creating had an evening and a morning, blah, 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 without stars. Could anyone be so unintelligent as to think that God made a paradise somewhere in the east and planted in there a tree, like a farmer, or that of a paradise? He put a tree of life, a tree you could see and know with your own senses. He's questioning what is written in Genesis. You can screenshot this and go down. Further, he comes down, he said, Adam hid behind a tree. No one, I think, will question that these are only fictions. So if your early church fathers are saying these things, why are you looking at me when I'm asking you the same question? These are fictions, stories of things they never actually happen, and that figuratively they refer to certain mysteries. It is the same with the New Testament text, which said that Satan took Jesus up onto a high mountain from which he could see all the kingdom of the earth. So much for the impossible and its symbolical interpretations. So what he is saying is that these things weren't happening, and if you dig deeper into the text, you will find out that this is an allegory. So even in the 1st century, we find out that what was the thing of the day in the 1st century, as it says here. The content here is that we saw also the sinister event of Israel, history depicted in the book, while the general understanding was that being a love song between God and Israel. Therefore, what it says, reproach, mayors allegorize the early Bible history as well. Now, I've got a cold, so I'm just kind of skipping through some of the things. But you can take down the sources and find out who these people were. So I'm trying to tell most of the public, when you're reading the Bible, you're reading the Bible literature, but you have to remember that the Bible's literature. Literature could be true or false in any book that you read. So when you're just saying things to us and we're questioning it, don't just think that we're going to accept it, because from what I know, a lot of these things are allegory. Let's push on. I asked someone the other day, what is God's name in the Torah? What was the first name used for God in the Torah? Elohim. Elohim. That was the first name used. But why did they use Elohim and then later down we started calling him Jehovah? Let's find out. I hope you all can hear this. This is Daniel Mack. He wrote several books on the Kabbalah. He's also wrote the Zohar, volume 1, 2, 3. I think it's gone up to 6. Let's hear what he's got to say about the beginning of the Torah.
You may have to turn up the volume.
That's my volume's right up, you know?
No, we can't actually hear it unless. Is there a YouTube link that we can go to?
Okay, this you can look up Daniel Mack, and you can hear him talking about the same subject, about Elohim. Okay, so let me go in just to show you what he was talking about. Okay. What's the screen? Can you still see my screen, Kalam?
Yeah, I can, but it's just white. What you clicked onto is white at present.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Here we go.
Okay. Good. All right. This is from the Zohar, from his book. As you can see here, it says he was talking about the book of Genesis, and it says the first water intermingled with water until they were separated to distinguish upper from lower. These are Elohim, God, and these are Adonai, lower and upper. He's even using the Hebrew word because the Hebrew alphabet, they also have an alphanumeric meaning to them. And between the lower, what is written, Elohim fashioned the expanses. The expansion took the name Elohim, upper waters, while the lower waters are Adonai. Nevertheless, once male waters were completed by female waters, the name Elohim extended over all. But what does he mean by that? So does the word Elohim, is that a name for God? So when the Bible said in the beginning God, they never used the word God. The word that was used was Elohim. So, but he's telling you here that Elohim means female waters and male waters. And the two mix and creation was produced. So what was that? That was not God we're talking about. We're talking about gods. Gods, male and female, came together to produce. That's how nature works. So let's go further to show you what he was talking about in the mysteries. So as we can see here, you see Ein Sof, and then you see the first Sephirah, which is Kepha. Kepha is not on the tree of life, but Kepha is ether. Then Kepha produced Hokmah, Hokmah, which means wisdom. But in Egypt, we already know who was associated with wisdom. His name was Tahuti. Then with wisdom came understanding. But what is understanding? Binah. So Binah is the feminine. But what's the other name for the Sephirah that they gave it? The divine mother, Aima. Any woman that's born in Ghana on a Saturday, they will call her name Amma, the black mother. Place, womb, Elohim. So Elohim is referring to a female. As we come over here, everlasting Father, beginning seed. What does it say? Yah, Reshet, divine mind. So what we're talking about is the same thing we have in Egypt, where we give you the Almonet, Nanoquet, Nanoket, Kahuhet, Kakuket. It's the same thing. He's just explaining it in a different way. When we go and look at the tree of life again, what do we see? We see here the Egyptian Osiris, the moon god, and we can see the moon underneath him. What do we see up here? The god Aha. The J and the I is interchangeable. Some people call him Jah. You're still talking about Tahuti. You're still talking about Egyptian deities without you knowing it. Let me go in further. We look at the Kabbalah again, Dian Fortune in her book. What does she say? The word Elohim, we find the true key. Elohim is translated God in both authorized and revised version of the Holy Scriptures. It's really ought to be translated God and goddesses, for it is a feminine noun with a masculine plural termination affix. This is an incontrovertible fact in the linguistic aspect in any rate, and it is to be presumed that the various authors of the book of the Bible knew that what it meant, and they did not use this particular unique form without good reason. So she's saying someone's making a mistranslation. But what is the name up here she gives for Binah? She gives for Binah, Amma, the dark sterile mother, the bright fertile mother, Kersi, the throne, Mara, the great sea. So from we see that, we know the throne is Isis. You have to understand the mysteries, and once you understand the mysteries bring you straight back to Egypt. Because you were living in Egypt, according to you, for 400 years. What did you think you learned while you was there? Let me go on. Kalam, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. There's a lot of upset people inside of the comment section that wants to get at you for this information here. I'm gonna let you know from the back.
It gets deep.
I can't wait for us to have a little break and then have a little challenge and go back in again. So continue, King.
Okay, you know what, Kalam? I'm kind of my breath. Could you just read this section for me, please?
Yeah, no problem. It says here, inorganic state was the womb of the conception. Isis is virgin, i.e. pure matter, or matter sublimated to spiritual tenacity. The duat, on the other hand, is really earth as the type of physical matter or matter organic, aggregated into substantial forms called by us physical matter. It is a matter as substance, constituted and existent in the visible world in structural forms. Isis was matter subsistent as an empty space, and Nephthys was atomic matter, constituent of visible structural forms. The physical world, which we must now think of as as floating in the sea of empty space like a fish out of water, are the second form of matter, and their organic bodies of substantial matter gave birth to the logoi in the solar system and to the Christos in man. So the divine spirit is conceived in the womb of Isis, the first universal mother, and brought to birth in the womb of Nephthys, the second mother, the immediate incubator and gestator of humankind.
I hope they will understand that, but I know that would have gone over their heads. But you can screenshot the page and read it again. Here's an article from a Pope. What did he say? Before you drop
that hot bar right there, I've got a super chat, so I want to make sure that my super chatters are definitely represented. Of course, anytime you guys drop a super chat, I'm going to read it out as long as I get to see it. So John McDermott, one of our key supporters, drops the devil threads the root of truth and lies with the skill of a mounting goat. All right, let's keep it moving.
Okay, from Richard Owen in Rome, the Pope, who this year said that God was not an old man with a white beard, went a step further yesterday and referred to God, the mother. Now, don't really argue with me about these things when I'm reading these articles. You have to go and find out why he was referring to God as the mother. We go further. Or about forging Christianity. In this classic expose of fraudulent origin of Christianity, Joseph Wheeler's expertly dissected the New Testament using its writers and its compilers' own admission, like the keen legal eye that he is, while it's indict the early Christian fathers as pious forgers of the various biblical texts, as well as the numerous apocrypha that have been tossed out of the canon because they were embarrassingly obvious forgery. All of this, and endlessly admitted by the Catholic Encyclopedia itself, it is fashionable amongst Protestant apologists to utterly dismiss the astonished admission of the Catholic Encyclopedia. So you go and find out Were they texts that were thrown out? Were they texts that were no good? These are the things that you need to find out, because people have done the research and find out that you haven't really got any original texts. We go further down. I'm running through this quickly because there is a lot. My voice is, yeah. Alan Boyd Kuhn was an American scholar of comparative religion, mythology, and Egyptology. Let's hear what he had to say in his book. To return to Abraham's bosom was just to complete the cycle of outgoing and return. To rest in the bosom of the highest divinity, close to the absolute, again, which is the tree of life, the highest sphere. That's why the Muslims will say to you, Muhammad went up to the 7 heavens. But if you look on the tree of life again, you will see the 7 lower Sephra and the 3 higher Sephra. This is what they were talking about. He says also he came out of of Chaldee, or Kashtim, which is another key word. Since in Chaldean word for fire, the celestial empyrean, out of which all souls as fiery sparks are emanated. So we have something in Egypt when we said that Ra cried and humans were born from his teardrops. You have to understand the mysteries and stop taking things literally. So we go down here, and it is said, it is a crushing blow to the historical rendering of the Bible narrative, to the clear on evidence that is incontrovertible that Egypt of the scriptures is not the country on the map. It is the term used in the allegories to designate plain state or land or embodiment life and earth. Egypt is just the earth. But what does he mean by that? That confused me when I read that. But then when you look at where the name Egypt comes from, that was a Greek thing. It meant Egyptos. And when the Greeks came into Egypt, they never referred to all of Egypt as Egyptus. They were just looking at one temple, which was the Temple of Ptah, and they couldn't pronounce the H. So they say Egyptus, which is a beautiful temple, not the whole land. So for you to call the whole place Egypt, that's a misnomer, because there's no such land called Egypt. That's what you need to know. You can take down the book and go and read it for yourself. There's much more in there. So we go down again. Okay, let me just skip past this. Okay, this is from Philo. Now, what was Philo doing in the 1st century? Philo was a contemporary of Christ, but Philo wrote nothing about any events of Christ. So when you read it here, it says, anti-allegorists were in the minority, but most teachers held steadfast to the ancestral faith as far as actual practice were concerned, and that endeavored only theoretically to harmonize Judaism with the Hellenistic philosophy by means of allegories. So in the 1st centuries, that what they were doing, they were putting so-called Hebrew history with Greek history under the guise of allegories. But what does that mean? So when we read down further, we say Philo was on the scene through all of that. In fact, he could have quite literally been on the scene for all of that. Philo would have loved to have been able to spark firsthand with this great Jewish saint he wrote so much about. But apparently, neither their return from the dead nor any of those other miracles made much. He didn't write anything about it. That's basically what they're saying. So we go down here. People say if you read Josephus's work, you will see Jesus is in there. We see a lot of Jesus in Josephus's work. But what did Jesus say? That's why I asked you. Was Jesus' last name Christ? No, it wasn't. Josephus never used the term Christ. Why would it? Christ is an Egyptian term. So when we look at the gospel fiction from Randall, page 99, it says gospel. The gospels are Hellenistic. That's why you find Greek words in the Old Testament. Like, for instance, Job 9:9, 38:31, when God is talking about Orion, Pallades, and Arcturus. What do you think these are? These are Greek mythologies in the Torah. And you're bringing stories to us like these are real. You don't know how to read your own book. Prove me wrong if Orion isn't from Greek mythology. And don't say the Greeks got it from the Hebrew, because you haven't showed us your text. You haven't showed us your manuscripts to say that the Greeks got it from you. So right here, you can see the mummy being wrapped, just like when we see Lazarus being wrapped in his fully white clothing. And what did they call that when he's wrapped like that? Crystal. K-R-S-T. Can you see it? This is what they call Mary weeping and the Jews her companion weeping of the dead god in Anu. It is said, O Osiris, the king, you have gone, but you will return. You have slept, but you will awake. But we have the same thing when Jesus was talking to Lazarus. You have to understand that the stories might not be similar. You're looking at the typologies of the stories. And then you will see the similarities. Sorry, my voice is going. So let me just run through quickly. Okay, I don't really need to go through that. Damn, let me just go through certain things there. So here we have the preeminent, the one who gave you the thought on the Torah, Maimonides. But let's see what some of the things that he had to say about the Torah. Again, one is inclined to ask if the religion of the prophets or the philosophical sanctionized religion concocted by a medieval thinker under the sway of Aristotle. He's saying he doesn't really believe what's written in there, and some of the things that are written in there, he's read in the Greek literature. This is the guy, one of the foremost scholars on your Torah. Why is it not coming up? Okay, this is a better example. Take a few examples. The Bible often suggests that a prophet, or in one case, the elders of Israel saw God. I thought so. But he goes on to say, by saying that the kind of seeing involved is intellectual rather than visual. So when Moses met God, he's not saying he actually met God. He's saying it's more intellectual. Go and argue with Maimonides. Read his book, A Guide for the Perplexed. As one see her way through a solvation of a geometry problem. By the same token, when God is described as near or close, the Bible is not talking about a physical location, but intellectual apprehension, as when scientists say they are close to finding a cure to a disease. So we go down here, and it says God wants, in more complicated way, Jacob's dream refers to the hierarchical structure of the physical world and represents the path the philosopher follows from knowledge to the subliminal realm, to knowledge, to the spheres and awareness of the existence of God. So he's not literally saying that God was wrestling with an angel or some angel came down here wrestling with someone. It's stupid. It's absurd. And it makes the deity look absurd. So if you're saying in your book, in one book, Moses said, God, can I see your face? And God said, no man can see me and live. But then when we read down further, what do we get? We get, whenever the people saw the pillar of the cloud standing at the entrance of the tent, they all stood and worshiped, and each of the entrance of their tent, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. So can I see you and live, or can't I see you and live? Or are you saying in his majestic form, you can't look at him, but he can transform himself physically like a physical being, like Kalam, and then now I can talk to him face to face. If that's what you call God, that cannot be God. I would suggest to people to read Socrates' argument when he was talking to Adamantis about good and evil and about what you class as God. And you will see that if God is perfect, he cannot be unperfect. For the layman, if God is perfect, no man, I think, would want to make themselves worse. Like how I'm sick. I don't really want to be sick. Why would God make himself worse? If you move from being the perfection that you are and you transform into something less than yourself, then you're not perfect. God doesn't do that. And I suggest you read the argument and then we can discuss it.
Woo wee. Family tree. There is a lot of information, knowledge, light is being disseminated right now. Let me know if you're
you know, brain cells are coping, family. I want to know. Just let me know. All right. Again, we've got a super chat coming in from the king himself, John McDermott, always there supporting Titans TV. My Christian brother. He says this: no man can no man can fully know God's mind. Only in God's mind can it be mapped into abstraction such a territory. Peace out, Kalam, and everyone. So peace and love to John McDermott. I believe he's signing out right now. So I beg family tree, give him your love, give him your support, and say, yeah, buddy. Oh man. All right. And I know we've got my Uncle Ty that's currently in the chat section right now. I can't wait. I actually can't wait to see if he's going to jump on. And that's going to be absolutely powerful conversation. I know you guys are going to be up for it. We've got Brother Ricky in the panel with us. We've got Brother Buddha in the panel with us. We're just waiting for more people to just join in. And we definitely shall have a little break here and there so we can get some feedback from the community. So yeah, so bear with me, family. We do also have another super chat coming in right now. So let me just shout out the super chat from US. I am says, Callum, can you get this brother who is speaking and Zion Lex on the same panel one day? I want to know. I want to see how much this brother really knows. Woo-wee. Now you're right, you know. That would be an awesome combination of Titans on Titans TV. So yeah, I'm you know what? I'm gonna have to ask the brother afterwards if he's up for that. And I'm pretty sure Zion Lex, yeah, he loves me, so I'm sure he'll be up for that as well. So yeah, that would be powerful. All right, let me get my jeez, two brothers that deals with the Hebrew text directly as well. All right, let me get my brother Rich Kid to continue.
Okay, so here we have the Bible on Earth, conflicts of dates and kings. This is a Israeli professor. You can get his book called The Bible on Earth if you want. So what does he say? Some scholars, such as Israel Frankenstein, claim Joseph to be a summarizing character of the Hyksos period, created recency of a glorious past of the Hyksos, which was still preserved by their descendants by the time of Israelites, emerging during the Iron Age in Canaan. From the scholar's point of view, the Hyksos descendants were a part of a pro-Israelite group, which joined to form the biblical Israelite nation. The Hyksos began settling in Egypt around 1800 BCE, rather earlier contact, grew in power, and were later expelled by who? Athmos. Now, if anyone go and read the story, historical story, you'll find out that the Hyksos, Hikawasu, they came in as foreign rulers. They weren't slaves there. They actually took over the land and ruled it, some say for about 108 years to 200 years. So that conflicts straight away with your biblical story. None of that grandiose parting of the Red Sea, none of that. You came in as rulers and you ruled until Athmos' family expelled you from Egypt. We go further down. It says, Del Psycho Britannia, the Red Sea or the Red Sea. We was discussing this last night. I would just suggest brothers go and look on that. Look at the path where you claim you was, and then tell me why you'd have to cross the Red Sea. A matter of fact, it was a mistranslation. I couldn't even bother looking it up last night because most of you don't really look or read. We go further down, they say there is nothing in the Bible that responds to Egyptian. Well, you can go and look it up. That's Joseph, that's Imhotep. A lot of Hebrew Israelites say Joseph was Imhotep, but there is no claims. A matter of fact, you were copying directly from the Egyptian text and giving it to Joseph. You can go and read Gary Greenberg's book called 101 Myths of the Bible. Read those books and then come back to me. Again, we go down to Moses. What did it say? Few historical figures have engendered such desperate interpretation as Moses. So because you're stuck reading your literature, you don't read outside of what they've got to say. So when I was saying to Ty, what was Torah? He said, I said it means law or teaching. He goes, it doesn't mean that. So what does it mean, Ty? You have yet to tell me what it means. But then when I question you, what does it mean? I said, can it mean law? You went, yes. So you're being disingenuous. And you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. This is the problem. We know that they took out our history and you concocted it into the mysteries. I had to go into the mysteries to expose it because most of you were from the school of Heru. Heru, almost similar to Hebrew. Most of you were from that school. And that's why to this day, when you look at some of the Jewish, they still wear the sidelock. Where did you get that from? You got that from, it's right there. There's the primary on the wall. I've got a lot of things for you, so let me carry on. Manetho, Egyptian priests, referred to Joseph's state. Egypt was infected with disease owing to the foreigners, among whom were those who were afterwards styled the children of Israel. Why did they style them the children of Israel afterwards? Because where is the first place recorded that the name Israel was ever shown? They said the Manetho Stela. But I know that the Amun-Ra squad debunked that. So tell me, where was the first time you see the name Israel recorded? That's one for you, because I'm going to show you that the word Israel is related to the planet Saturn and not a group of people. Okay. Jacob struggled with the angel, that it was a struggle in prayer. It was a struggle in what? It was a struggle in prayer. So it wasn't a physical wrestling with an angel. That would have been an unfair fight, seeing that angels got big wings on their back and they fly. That's what you show us. But this wasn't supposed to be taken literally, because you have to look into the deeper meaning of what is actually going on. So let me start teaching you from here on, because that was just an introduction. So from here, we have something, and stop me when you want, Kalam, at any time. I don't know why this is not showing up, but this is something that we call mimesis. You can go and look at what mimesis was. So Dionysus in the 1st century BC was conceived as a technique of rhetoric, emulating and adapting, rework and enriching a source text by an earlier author. So I understand in the school practice at that time, if Kalam, okay, let me put it down for the layman terms. If Kalam wrote the Matrix and I didn't like the ending of the Matrix and I read his work, I would enrich his source text. That's what they were talking about. So which book from the New Testament was written first? Mark. Mark, then Matthew copied from Mark, then Luke copied from Matthew. This is, you can go and read, what's his name? Professor Bart Ehrman. You can go and read his book and he'll tell you that. Then we go there, and that's another good read for you as well. The Homeric Epic and the Gospel of Mark. I'm pretty sure that when some of you read these books, and these are texts that are outdate your Bible, you would start seeing the similarity between the Greek texts and some of the texts that you're quoting me today. That's a fact. Okay, let me just run through quickly because time is fishing. Okay, this is an example of what I mean. Mark, when Mark starts his work, Mark just said, behold, I will send you a messenger and ahead of you. Mark, there was no birth story. There was no virgin birth in Mark's book, but Mark was the first author. So now Matthew comes and he goes, now I'm going to have to enrich that. He gives you the genealogy of Jesus's birth line. But Mark didn't write that. So because you're reading the Bible, you just quote me from Mark, Matthew, Luke. Oh, go to the books of Mark, 24, 21. Go to the, you don't even have authors for the books. No one was called Mark in the 1st century, unless you say Marcos. Marcus John. That's why they say according to, because you don't have no one who are the author of these books. You don't even have the original text. Let me show you. We're reading a book called Nail. What does he say? In contrast to Luke, Matthew claims Jesus was born during the reign of Herod the Great. But Herod's reign ended in 4 BCE. And the censors mentioned that Luke couldn't have happened before 6 CE, a gap of 10 years. That's just something for you to go and look in. And you can download this book on PDF. What did Bart Ehrman have to say? He said, Not only do we not have the originals, we don't have the first copies of the originals. We don't even have the copies of the copies of the original, or the copies of the copies of the copies of the original. What we have is copies much later, and most instances, these are copies made many centuries later, and these copies all differ from one another. So how did you get to the truth? Let me go to Origin. I've got much more coming for you. Origin writes that the differences between the copies of the gospel is considerably partly from the carelessness of individual scribes. This is Origin. He's telling you that from in the 1st, 2nd century, that there's problems with the Bible. And let the Christians tell you, how did Origin die? Eventually he succumbed to what they call paganism, because what he was reading wasn't making sense to him. Not just Origin. You can read Origin's book, Culture Celsius, where he was going against Celsus and telling Celsus that he's a pagan. But what happened to him in the end? He became the pagan. He succumbed to paganism. What did Celsus have to say about your book? Celsus categorically accused the gospel story, of changing their gospel stories in many ways in order to answer the objection of their opponent. His accusation is that some of them, as it were, in a drunken state, produce self-inducing visions, remodel their gospel from its first written form, and reform it so that they may be able to refute the objections brought against them. So what he's saying is, we would bring an objection against them like, there is no talking snake, and they go, oh, that's not really what it is. It's an allegory. Every minute they were changing their words. But what Christians don't fail to tell you is this. When what Jesus was Celsus talking about, here we have, who is the King of Glory? Again, Albin Boyd Kuhn, PhD. What does he say? Joshua ben Pandira. Is that Jesus? Joshua ben Pandira. But why would you say that's not Jesus? His name is Joshua. There is no J in the Hebrew language. So his name would have been Yeshua ben Pandira. So which Jesus is this they're talking about? Let me go further. You'll find out. It goes down here where Celsus is telling you about the Jesus that he was speaking about. What did he say? Let us imagine what a Jew, let alone a philosopher, might put to Jesus. Is it not true, good sir, that you fabricated the story of your birth from a virgin to quiet rumors about the true and unsavory circumstances of your origin? It is not the case that far from being born of a royal David city of Bethlehem, you were born in a poor country town and a woman who earned her living from spinning. It is not the case that when deceit was discovered to wit, that she was pregnant by a Roman soldier named Pandira. She was driven away by her husband, the carpenter, and convicted of adultery. Then he goes, let me just jump down here. What more? It is not more so that you hired yourself out as a workman in Egypt, learned magical craft, and flaunt it amongst your kinsmen. And what did he say again? He said, the Christians used the myth of Danae and Penelope, and of Argo and of Antioch in fabricating the story of Jesus. What is he talking about here? He's talking about ancient Greek texts, the Iliad, the Odyssey. You was taking stories from there to make your own stories. Go and look up these stories. Go and look up the story of the Kalam. You will see Noah's story straight in there. The question you have to ask, which one came first? We go down here. Can the real Jesus stand up? It says the Jewish rabbinical literature in the 6th, 7th century, or is it him? He is confused with earlier figures of Jesus Pandira, mid-1st century BCE, and Jesus Ben Strada, as connections with the government, and it's criticized for strange behavior, like burning his food in public, when it is exonerated for practicing magic and leading Israel astray. A herald sent 40 days searching for witness to testify on his behalf, but none could be found, and he was hanged on the eve of Passover along with his 5 disciples. Who are we talking about here? Is this Jesus? Is this Jesus of your Bible? Because the dates don't match. The point I'm making to you is, Jesus, there was many of them. So when you keep saying Christ, why do you keep calling him by a Greek name? That is not his birth name. That's why Zion Lex and them lot don't fool around with the New Testament. They don't fool around with it. They stick to the Torah. But even in the Torah, I'll get them. You want to take a break here? You can take a break.
Woo-wee! Too much fire, too much sauce, too much sauce. Oh man, are you lot ready for Rich Kid? Please let me know. It is absolutely heating up right about now. So, family tree, let me know if you agree, disagree, want to challenge, you know, want clarification, need an edification, need some illumination. God damn. This is a fire show indeed. No, we need to rename the title, you know. So, family, I want you guys to let me know what should be the new name of this title. God, I think this is like Volcano. The volcano finally erupts. Oh, all right. Okay. So, family, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I want you guys, if you got anything to say, right? If you want me to ask Rich Kid a question and you don't want to come onto the panel, simply tag Titans TV. Otherwise, the link has been posted, family. The link has been posted. So you can join at any moment's notice. And I'm going to repost again, yeah? So don't complain to me after the show is finished, right? That, he was talking nonsense. I don't like it. Kalam, why are you doing this for? No, don't give me none of that, yeah? Every single show, we give everybody the opportunity to come on and to challenge the ideas of the presenters, right? I give you guys the opportunity to challenge me, all right? The Titans TV himself, you can challenge me. So if you can challenge me, rest assured you can challenge anybody on the panel and anybody that comes onto our show, right? We're not here to groom you guys into be passive listeners, right? No, we're trying to ensure that all of you guys are critical thinkers, right? Sometimes you hear some stuff, it's going to enlighten you. It's going to help you to prosper. It's going to help you to grow. It's going to help you change the direction, the way you're moving. And other stuff you're going to hear that you're going to be like, that issue ain't beneficial at all. That issue is wrong, right? So come on up and see what, you know, come on up and see what the brother is like. You know, he's here, ready to be tried, ready to be tested. So let's get it, family. Let's get it. All right. So we've got an Israelite, we've got a Muslim, we've got a Buddhist, and we've got Brother Ricky, an atheist, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Any of you guys would like to just quickly open up their mics so I know which order I'm going to speak to everybody. Anybody, just open up your mic and close your mic, mute and unmute your mic if you want to speak. Okay, so we've got Vegeta number 1.
Yeah, Kalam, listen, I'm lagging. Is there any chance Rich Kid can turn off his screen sharing if he's not using it?
No, that's me controlling that still. So let me go to Vegeta. All right, Vegeta, talk to me, King.
Yeah, brother. I'm just saying, Rich Kid is bringing some of that, you know, that university level shit in it. University level, when the most of the viewers are GCSE level in it. A lot of this stuff is flying over the kufi, bro. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, maybe my brother needs to like dumb it down a bit, cause a lot. I don't know, man. You know what's going on, bro. Yeah, but I'm saying that with respect, bro. Saying that with respect.
Yeah, that. All right, that's some good feedback. Thank you for that. I like that. That's a positive feedback. Okay. Okay. Yes. Anytime you come on, just keep your mic muted unless you want to speak. Okay. You can get my attention by muting your mic and unmuting your mic, and then I will choose who goes next. So, for example, right now Ricky has been muting and unmuting his mic, so he's next, family. Remember, we have 3 rules on Titans TV. Rule number 1 is to keep your mics muted at all times. Rule number 2 is to respect our Titan cipher. Right now, our Titan is Rich Kid, so please respect his cipher. Keep your mics muted. Show some respect. And also, rule number 3 is no ad hominems and no profanity, because we don't want the show to spiral out of control. And that's what happens usually. All right, so let me go to Ricky now. Ricky! No! All right. if Ricky's not available, I'm gonna swing it over to Buddha because he's got his mic unmuted. Nope. Nope. Okay. All right. So Ezra, do you want to say something?
Hello, brother. Kalam.
Yo, fam.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, what's good, fam? Don't know. I'm just, just listening to Rich Kid and his. I just want to know what he was going at. Was it like Christianity or the Bible? Like, what was his argument?
Okay, so let me go to Rich Kid, and then afterwards to Ricky. Go ahead, Rich Kid.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what it is? It's just bringing up certain things in the Bible that needs to be explained. It's not really targeting anyone, it's just targeting the literature.
All right. Who was it next? Sorry.
Me.
You wanted to go next. Ricky, that was it. Yep. Ricky, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, big up to the panel first of all, and to Rich Kid for bringing that wonderful presentation. I'm with Vegeta on this one. Clearly, by reading the comments, this is A-level material, and the people in the chat are on GCSE or below. I don't know what they're on. There's one girl there asking about what are his sources. He was reading from the sources on the screen. That was his source. You can see it right there. And they're asking, what are you talking about for the sources? It's just, listen, when you bring the knowledge, like Rich Kid was saying, the information was there, then go and do your own research. And then don't quote it, don't criticize him. He's reading the primary sources. It's on you now to go and read the primary sources and make your own decision. Whether you're going to believe in the book based on just belief, or you're going to understand the history of the book itself. What everything has an origin. The Bible just didn't appear. It has an origin. It has a source. And that's what he's showing you. And if you don't understand that, then you really shouldn't even be in the comment section because you haven't got the education to understand the conversation being spoken about. That's what I got to say.
Ooh-wee. Some harsh words, man. Some harsh words. But family, let's take in the criticism, all right? Let's get it. All right. So if that's it, has everybody had their say? Because I want to pass it back to Rich Kid.
I was just gonna say
more to drop.
I was gonna say, can you hear me?
Yeah, brother. What's your actual name though?
Watunde.
Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say thanks for the panel for having me, and the presenting brother. Thanks for the sources and everything. I think these are well presented information that he's given us. Thank you. I'm just here to listen mostly.
All right, no problem. Let's get it then. Rich Kid, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks for everyone coming. And like I said, my voice is not that strong, so I'm not presenting it how I wanted to. But at the end of the day, I think on the Titans, I see a lot of intelligent people that come here. So I don't really think me kind of dumbing down what I'm trying to say. I think, like I said, people should just go and do their research. Like I'm going to read from you, Porphyry. You can go on Amazon and you can buy these books. You don't have to agree with what he's saying, but you have to look at the arguments that were being brought forth against these literature. And that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to continue. Porphyry said Christianity was contemptible because it was simple. Hence, simple devices and stereotype arguments were used against it. The Gospels were the work of charlatans, while Jesus himself was a criminal and a failure even from the Jewish perspective. The followers had betrayed him. The chief, the greatest coward of all, was made prince of his church as a miracle worker. Jesus was a second-rater. The teachings of the Christianity is self-contradictory. They look for the end of the world, but what they really want is to control the empire. To worship Jesus as a god is an insult to any god deserving of the name. We go down to his teacher. What does he say? You can, like I said, scream. So I'm not going to read everything because my voice is not strong. So you can see, but I'm just going to read from down here where it's in the red. Moses can wholly have written such thing because he was stupid. And their general effect is like that of the old comedies, where here Proteus married who? Bellerophon, and Pegasus came from Achadia. In short, Moses and the prophets put together the records had absolutely no inkling how the world came to be, and their books are absolute garbage. I would say to anyone on the panel, Go on Amazon, get this book, hear what he's got to say, and then bring your arguments against Celsus. Well, let's stick to the point. Who was he talking about? Bellerophon. Here's Bellerophon. What is he doing? He's flying a horse, Pegasus, up into the sky. I know that's going to touch a lot of nerves, but let's look. He was a hero, Bellerophon. But what happened? He was not satisfied, so he ascended to heaven on the back of Pegasus. Zeus, angered by his presumption, and sent a gadfly to sting the horse, to cause the horse to buck, cast the hero back down to earth. After this, he wandered the world alone, despised by both men, by gods and man. Well, it's the mythology, Egyptology of Bellerophon. Now, if you read some of his stories, you can see the typologies of Muhammad flying to heaven and going through the 7 heavens. What is the 7 heavens? The 7 heavens is the 7 deadly sins. That's what the world runs on. We run on sin. So what did the Egyptians say? You have to learn the upper knowledge, which is the 7 liberal arts. So therefore, man and human must try to attain the highest virtue. These are not literal things they're telling you. They're telling you to look at yourself in the mirror, what you don't like as a vice, get rid of that vice and replace it with virtues. You have to understand the stories and stop taking them literally. Here we have Muhammad ascendant into heaven. But what is that different from Bellerophon? Bellerophon ascended into heaven. There is no difference in the stories. You can go and read the stories. We also have Arion on the dolphin. So when I see Jonah in the belly of a whale, or was it a fish according to the Hebrew language, it's nothing new because the Greeks had these stories before. This is what Celsus was trying to say to you. Where is your history in the Greek annals? It's not there. But they understood Homer and the Iliad, Theogonon by Hesiod, and they understand the Odyssey. Go and read the Odyssey. Let me show you why I know some of the Muslims are hypocrites. Let me show you why. And surely we created man from sounding clay of black mud. What did I say? Of surely we created man. And surely we created man from black mud, fashioned into shape. And surely we created man of sounding clay, of black mud, fashioned into shape. But when Kalam and Sarah them asked him at the park, what color is Adam? I believe Adam was a colored man. Why are you believing that Adam was a colored man? Allah has told you in his Quran, which you said no verse have changed and is one of the most eloquent book that I've ever read. So now, but when we go into the book and we read it, and Allah says that man was created from black mud and fashioned into shape, it leads me to think, what does that mean? So then I went to look at the explanation from what your sages were saying. And he's given us an explanation down below. But what I've noticed, he would say 2 kinds of temptation. The description of the origin of man is being made from clay that gives sound and of mud. But guess what? He missed out black mud. Why did he miss out black mud? So if Adam was created from black mud and Eve was taken from his ribs, I'm sure you can understand this. Now you have a black man and a black woman. Now you need to tell me how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the rest of the race. That's not upon me to tell you, because Allah has already told you in the Quran that I created man from black mud. He had to, because you couldn't live under the sun if he created you under any other color. Let me go on. But before Allah came out with his book, we had these stories in Egypt. Why is this picture not coming? Of Kanun fashioning man. Oh God, the picture's not coming. Okay, I don't know why that picture's not coming up. But here we can see. Okay, let me come back to this.
Jeez, family, while waiting for that, I beg you not hit up the like button, though. I don't know what's going on, though. Like, I know you guys are enjoying the show so far, So please stop being passive, be interactive, hit up the like button. And if you can conversate with other people and tell them to share, let them know that we're live right now with Rich Kid. And he is dropping some explosions right about now. So family, support Times TV, support Rich Kid, and support the information that is being dropped. All right? And support critical thinking, family. Come on.
So here we have the 12 labors of Hercules, not exactly the 12 labors, but go and read the 12 labors of Hercules and Hercules killing the mean lion over his back. Just go and read the 12 labors of Hercules. That's what I would say to anyone who's reading the Bible. Just Google how many times the number 12 is used in your Bible. Why do you think they use the number 12 and 7? It's a perfect marriage, but most of you won't understand that. So here we have a story. Who is this? Hesperides. What is she doing? She's standing by the tree, guarding the golden apple with the snake Ladon lapped around it. What's the date? 410, 400 BC. So when you're telling me about Adam and Eve and these stories, like I said, you're infusing Greek history into Judaism. And that's why you come up with these stories. You have to have heard about these stories because in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, this is what they were teaching. Prove me wrong. What do we have here? Ooh, we have Prometheus. He's tied up. He's been crucified. Why has Prometheus been crucified? Because he brought fire to man. And here you can see what they call this bird again. I can't remember the name for this bird. He keeps picking at his side and blood spills from his side. Do you see the typology in the story? But you won't read these texts because you're like, what's that got to do with anything being crucified? Because I'm telling you that in the mysteries, these things were already being taught. Lucifer means the carrier of light. Lucifer is not a bad man. Lucifer means the light bringer. What light? Is it light of intelligence? Because that's what light is. A carrier of light or heat, and it's the name for blood. What is it the name for? Blood. So when you read Socrates, and he was talking to Thrasymachus, and he said, I could see his fury rising, so I hold down my eyes because I didn't want him to attack me. Why? Because you don't make decisions when you're angry. As we say in Jamaica, don't do things when your blood's boiling. Why? Because that's the point. You're liable to kill someone, do something bad, and then regret it when your blood cools down. So the ancients, they call that Lucifer. Christian mystery, the piercing of the liver, Christian by the spear of the centurion, is especially mystical, while Prometheus, the friend of man, hanging up on the peak of Mount Carcos with a vulture grounding at his liver, is the same myth expressed in the symbolism of ancient Greek. No? You don't see that? But here he is again with the woman and wailing. He's been punished because he brought fire to man. It's the same story. So why should I believe the story that you're telling me about in the Bible when you can't even prove none of it? Here we have in your Bible, a woman comes to wash Jesus's feet, kissing. But then when you talk to people and you go, oh, who was the woman that washed Jesus's feet? What was her name? They go, Mary Magdalene. Show me in the Bible where it says her name. It doesn't. But you assume that it's saying Mary Magdalene, but it doesn't say her name. But we already had that story when we look at Prometheus. That's why oh my God, come on. Okay, I'm not too sure why this other picture is not showing. Okay, there we have Odysseus, and you can go and read the Odyssey. What happens when Odysseus returned from his 20 years absence from home, going through his trials and his tribulation? You have to understand what these stories meant, and when the Greeks that were writing them, what they meant about him going on his journey. When he came home, who was the first person to wash his feet? What does her name mean? Once you start telling me these things, then I could start talking to you. But don't make out like these stories in your book is the first, because they're not. And you don't have sources for them. But I'm showing you sources where we're getting the sources from. You're just reading literature. The Bible is not a primary source. What do we have here? The Greeks weren't racist because when the Greeks drew their art, they know what the difference between white and black was. But who's coming out of Zeus's head? Athena. What does she wear? She wears a spear and a shield. Zeus is black. The Greeks have always known that the gods were black. Herodotus told you that. So why, when we look at Athena, you would think that Athena, in ancient time, they used to have Masonic teachings regarding Athena. She used to have her own schools. There was a statue of Athena in Greece. And when the sun used to rise, the sun used to spike the spear, and the spear used to look like it was shaking. So they used to call her what? The shaking Athena. Francis Bacon, he switched that round and it became Shakespeare. Because we know Shakespeare had nothing to do with that writing. You have to go and read these texts and then come back to me. Again, we move on. Oh, give it a wrong page. Second century philosophy. This is not showing. Okay, back to Celsus. This is what some of the things that Celsus was talking about. Let me just read here. Like I said, you can go over these stories. Fantastic stories about a man being formed by God and breathed in by God, and that a woman was formed out of the man's right side, and that God gave them commands, and that serpent came and proved himself superior to the wishes of God. This legend, they tell the old woman as if to publicize the fact that their God is a weakling from the very start indeed, wholly unable to control his first made creation. The Jews and the Christians, the more reasonable ones, are ashamed of this nonsense and try their very best to what? Allegorize it. If you can't explain the nonsense in your Bible, stop taking them literally and spruiting them literally. Go and understand what they mean, and if you don't know what they mean, say you don't know. There's no shame in that. Then we go further down. What does it say? Moses heard of such beliefs, current among the wise nations amongst distinguished men, and thus received himself a certain reputation for having divine powers. These doctrines he used in order to educate the Jews, yet none of them, what he taught, can be considered what? Original. Why would it be original? Every ancient nation had their creation story. Moses' story isn't real as any other nation. When you can't even explain the stories of them, you have 4 different creation stories in the book of Genesis. Scholars are talking about this problem today. It's called the JED problem. Let me move on. As I said, I'm ill and I'm running fast. So, okay, let me skip that. He goes on to say, who are the Jews? They are runaway slaves who escaped from Egypt. They never did anything of importance. What do you mean, Celsus? God came to them and parted the Red Sea. How can you say that? He said they never done anything of importance. They have never been of any significance or prominence whatsoever, for nothing of their history is to be found in the Greek history. This is what I'm asking you for. Show me all of those events in the Greek annals, because you had Greek historians. They have tried in their holy books, shamefully I may add, to trace their genealogy back to the first offsprings of sorcerers and deceivers, invoking the witness of vague and ambitious utterance, concealing their dark obscurity. So now when we turn around and we read the Bible, you want me to believe that when Jesus was crucified, the earth shake and the dead saints came from out of the ground and walk into the town. Now I want everyone in the audience to just sit and listen. You're sitting down, an event happened, and dead people came from out of the ground. They weren't wearing Versace. They must have looked ghastly. And you're telling me the scholars of the 1st century, such as Philo, he didn't write about that? Nothing to do with it? What about the irresponsible statement that he made? Articles have been written on it about the misuse of Mark 16, 17, 18, when Jesus is telling you that those who say they love Jesus, they would drink poison and nothing would harm them. That's why I say to Christians, before you have a dialogue with me, you have to drink poison first. And they think I'm being facetious. But what did Porphyry say about that?
Yo, what's going on, blood?
That's my presentation.
Come on. Oh, what's this button coming up? Hold on, just 1 second.
Ooh-wee. You know, again, I'm letting you guys know, man, we got some heavy hitters up in the building with us right now. We've got brother Ezra up in the building, Hebrew Israelite savant. We've got Uncle Ty up in the building, you know, the Hebrew Israelite truth slayer. Oh, man. Let's get it, family. Let's get it. We got some heavy hitters.
Okay, it's come up now. Okay, thank God. So it says here, Porphyry against the Christians, page 50. Well then, he was discussing that verse I just read about the poison. And he said, well then, the proper thing to do would be to use this process as a test for those aspiring to be priest, bishop, or church officer. A deadly drug should be put in front of them, and only those who survive drinking should be elevated in the ranks of the church. If there are those who refuse to submit to such a test, they may as well admit that they do not believe in the things that Jesus said. So you can see, so when Christians are asked them about this verse, a lot of them say these verses were added at a later date. Well, it must have been a later date because Porphyry was writing around the 2nd, 3rd century. So for that to be in there, I'm telling you that this is an irresponsible thing that Jesus put in the Bible. He said a lot, according to Porphyry. I'll just tell you to read this book. There was a bit where he said, for those who have faith, even as a mustard seed could move mountains. Well, if you've got faith in Christ, move mountains. These things are idiotic. And that's why these philosophers in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd century were questioning the nonsense that they were reading. Again, we go down and we can see that in Rome, they used to have a day called Saturnalia. Most people would know that. All you have to do is jump on Google, type in Saturnalia, and that will come up. But it's interesting when we go further, we read a book called, okay, this book, I don't know why this book is not showing. Hold on a minute. Okay. The Bible Myths and Parallels of Other Religion. In the book, they said sanctionation, Greek, is the purported Phoenician author of 3 lost works, originally in Phoenician language, surviving only partial phrases and somewhere in Greek translation by Philobubulus, according to the Christian bishop Eusebius of Caesarea. What did these texts were saying? What were they saying? It says the ancient name for Saturn is what? Israel. There was an ancient Phoenician story written in Sanctionation who wrote about 13,000 years before our era, which is as follows. Saturn, whom the Phoenicians called Israel, had by a nymph of the country a male child, whom he named Jehud, that is, one and only. On the breaking out of a war which brought the country into imminent danger, Saturn erected an altar, brought it to his son, clothed in full royal garments, and sacrificed him. I'd implore you to read this book. But then we find the same typology when Abraham had his son doing the same thing. But why was Israel called Saturn? Why did the Phoenicians used to call Saturn Israel? Why do you have your Sabbath on Saturday when you know that that same god, Saturnalia, Saturn, was named after Saturday? This is the question.
Hello. Yo. Sorry to cut you there, but so, like, all I want to know is that are they calling it Yasharallah or are they calling it Israel? Because, like, Israel don't even exist in Hebrew, as you know. So
okay,
that sounds like nonsense, to be honest. Why would they, like, we know that it's Israel when it's translated into English and it's in Hebrew. It's not called Israel. So they wouldn't have been using no Greek mythology, would they?
Okay, can I go on?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, again, we have more myths in these stories where we see the story of kings sacrificing their daughters on altars. So what we're saying is these stories are not new. When you go into other nations, you will find these stories. So what makes your story right and these stories wrong? These are the questions I'm asking. So if you're saying, well, these stories were myth, then yours can be classed as a myth. That's the point I'm making. When we go to the Christ cult, what does Bernie Mac say? Christ cult is already familiar to us as the earliest and only record response to Jesus before the gospel, declaring Jesus as the Son of God, throne partner of the deity himself, Lord and sustainer of the universe, blah, blah, blah. One has to stand agape at the quantum gap that exists between the mind of someone like Paul and those who saw no more in Jesus than an attorney who made it okay not to wash their hands before eating. Now, Bernie Mac and some of these scholars that you see me putting up, go and read their texts. If you disagree with the arguments that they are saying, then you bring your text that disagrees with what they are saying. I'm going to take a break there because my voice is going.
Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. What the flip happened to you, bro?
Over GS, shut up.
Okay, is Kalam there?
Yo, Kalam.
Have you got an answer? Have you got an answer for that though? Because I just feel like
Saturn one, yeah.
That Saturn one that made no sense, fam. Like that was daft, really.
Okay, can I go on if Kalam's not going to intercede? I'll take questions from you afterwards. Actually.
All right, cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the problem centers to the figure of Jesus. Jesus is someone, like the myth of origin in the canon, emerged at a later stage of the evidence. Even here, the picture of him is inconsistently contradictory, the lacking of ring of authenticity. That is, as found in the gospel. Even at the stage when they emerge into the light towards the middle of the 2nd century, Jesus is clearly an embodiment of the various theologies and editorial processes of the evangelists, the faith of the communities they represent. So in the 1st centuries, this was nothing new to be saying these things. What Christians are making out like this is real when you don't have the original source to bring forth. Mack admits that the Christ cult bear close parallels with the Greek cult, which offers their own mythical savior, and that Christ myth drew to the current Hellenistic and Jewish mythology. Here again, he might have asked the obvious question, was the Christian myth simply a product of the universal religion tendency of the time? Because when you're studying other religions and you're studying the Bible, you're seeing that they're analogous to each other. So he's questioning, are they just one or the same? They're one and the same. Again, a bit of mythology. When we talk about Jesus taking his disciples into the upper room, what does he mean by that? He met his 12 disciples into the upper room. In the mysteries, this is how they discuss the human anatomy for others to remember. When you look at the human brain, inside it, there's something called a thalamus. And from the thalamus, you have 12 cranial nerves. These 12 cranial nerves all send messages to the thalamus. This is what the mysteries used to call the upper room, the dome. The 12 disciples represent your 12 cranial functions. The thalamus, or the center of the brain, which is on this picture,
Yo, are you saying, are you saying they had knowledge of the brain? Like they knew every part of the brain that back in them days, yeah?
That's correct.
Damn, homie.
So basically, the blood vessels that run from the brain, there's 12 of them. But these are the messengers. Because if you hit your foot on the sidewalk, instantly you'll feel the pain. But if you look at the human body, the way that message was brought from your feet to the brain is lightning speed. So when that slows down, they call it the myelin sheath. When that kind of deteriorates, the message moves slow, and then people get dementia because the message is not going up to the upper room. You can read Manly P. Hall's book further for more information on that. So okay. So when we look at here, and I'm going to finish soon, we can see here the 4 ventricles. And you have to remember, there were 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden. But I'm going to say, and it's my opinion, that the Garden of Eden, the reason we can't find it is because the Garden of Eden is a human body. Because the human body produced a certain amount of fluid a day to water the Garden of Eden. And it goes past the 4 ventricles. And guess where it passes? Egypt. Because there's right here, at the crustacean, where you see the adducens nerve, right here, can you see where it says pyramid? There's a crossing. The fluid goes up, goes down, then it comes up. It's continually watering the Garden of Eden. Go and ask any doctor and they'll tell you that. The center of the brain, right here, without the thalamus, the brain cannot diagnose the sensory information submitted to it. The ancients knew that. So in order for them to tell you that, they just put them in certain stories so you'll understand. So I'm going to finish off quick on what Ezra was saying. There's a part in the Bible. Why is this picture coming up? Okay. God, Saturn in Roman mythology. There's a part in the Bible where God said he's going to make the children of Israel eat their babies. That's not to be taken literally. Why would God want you to eat your own child? But this was also a mythology in Rome of Saturn eating his babies. But you have to go and read the mythology to understand what they were talking about. Again, here we have a primary source of the god called what? An African god called Baal. So in the Bible, they make Baal to be a bad god. They said that the ancient Israelites, they worship Baal. And Baal is not a god. But what does the word Baal mean? It's Ba'ali. It means my Lord. Who did he represent? Saturn. Why are these gods representing these planets? This is the point I'm asking you. So we go to Robert Taylor. And if you don't know who Robert Taylor is, I suggest you go and find out. He was actually the one teaching Charles Darwin when he became unnerved because of the treatment. Robert Taylor was getting. This is a reverend. But let's hear what he said in his book, and I'm going to close off. He said, the term Jew, Israelite, Hebrew were a designation of those who pass on to the highest dignity in these holy mysteries. So when Abraham crossed over the river, this is a Freemason rendering. That's why the people called him Hebrew. It was like a degree, not a nation. Furthermore, we go down, he says, the Jews and an order of Freemason, above that of the Christians, but below that of the Hebrew, professes that the name of the supreme deity is unutterable, an inevitable substituted in the stead of the word, which we absurdly and erroneously pronounce Jehovah, Adonai, which is literally my Lord, Baal-Ali, with the noun and the suffix, to the plural of the word Adonis. But who is Adonis? The well-known name of the beautiful son, Mara. When I showed you the tree of life, I showed you who Mara was in the pagan mythology. So this is why I asked, when I was asking them, what are these things, these Greek mythologies doing in the Old Testament? Exodus is Greek. Deuteronomy, Greek. You have a part in your Bible where it says that the Son of Righteousness, the S-U-N Son, it doesn't say S-O-N. But when you go to the Christians, them to ask you to give them a breakdown, they take you into the spiritual world. Son can actually mean S-O-N, Son. How do I know that? So when you say the Son of God, I don't know if you're talking about the S-U-N or the S-O-N. Again, Dr. Anana, we seek in vain amongst the Egyptian hieroglyphs for scenes which recall such cruelty as those we read in the Hebrew records. And in the writing which I've been here, Ito, being translated, we find nothing resembling the wholesale destruction described and applauded by Jewish historians as perpetrated by their own people. The Pharaoh should have punished a tribe of diseased slaves whom he had driven out of his country is altogether improbable. In the words of, we may conclude by saying that the story was not written until more than 500 years later. The Exodus can lay no claims to be considered historical. This is what they're saying. So let me just run through this and then we're going to done. Here we have another story. Oh, come on. We have... okay. The religion of Israel, speaking of Samson, say, the story of Samson and his deeds originated in a solar myth and was afterwards transformed by the narrator of a sage about a mighty hero and a deliverer of Israel. The very name Samson is delivered from the Hebrew word that means sun. The hero flowing locks were originally the rays of the sun. So when they say, you Egyptians, you worship the sun, what do we say? So do you. You just don't know. Here's another story. What is this story? Zoroastrian. The legends of the master related of the days at the prey of the high mountain. In the midst of the thunder and the lightning, fire from heaven, the Lord himself appeared before him and delivered to him the book of law, while the king of Persia and the people were assumed together. Zoroaster came down from the mountain unharmed, bringing with him the book of law, which he had been revealed to him by Umnos. The call of this book, the Zen Avesta, which signify the living word. Was that a fable or was that true? The point I'm making is Moses' story isn't the only story about law giving. When we go down to Justin Martyr, what did he say? Similar to above, Justin Martyr compares the birth of Jesus and his status as the word of God to that of who? Mercury. Who's Mercury? Go and find out these things for yourself and then come back and prove me wrong. And on that note, my voice, I could go on because there's like 200 and change slides, but I'm just going to end it here.
Jeez, Uncle Justin. Hey, let's all say Uncle Justin. Jeez. Our savior, our teacher has gone in. Our sinner has gone in. Oh man, our Adon, our Lord, our Father has just gone in right about now. The only way he's there is he's been dropping some serious heavyweight information. We have to give our thanks. We have to give our praise. We have to give our gratitude that somebody finally stepped up, okay, to come onto the platform and to disseminate some information to you guys, right? So I absolutely love that. Remember last week we was being very, very, very provocative, you know, calling out our Kemetic community, you know, really utilizing some trigger terms and trigger phrases and trigger words, yeah, to make sure that we can stimulate a dialogue where we can get more Kemetic practitioners, more Kemetic teachers out there to come out and actually educate us from their perspective, right? Because I'm so tired of giving it to you from my perspective. That's only one, you know, minuscule perspective on Kemetic information. Right now, we've got a Kabbalah master, a person who's trained in the mystery schools and mysticism as well as Kemet, coming on to just drop you guys some powerful information. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying. I'm hoping you guys are seeing, you know, the vastness of knowledge. Like just going through the sources themselves it's just edifying. It's an edifying journey. Is that Fifth Avenue Phil from America? Don't lie. Yo, Fifth Avenue Phil, my brother, salute to you. Oh man, 5-star general. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is open it up, okay? I'm going to open up to the panel. You already know if you want my attention for your mics to be unmuted, right? Or for you to talk, just unmute your mic, mute your mic a couple of times so I know the order of who I'm going to go to first. All right? So I'm just waiting. Anybody would like to come on, just unmute your mic, mute your mic. All right, so we've got Buddha's going on first. Anybody else after Buddha? Then Vegeta, then Ezra, then Revenue. All right, cool. So Buddha, shoot. Scudder. Gang, 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 gang. Ain't done that for ages. Love you, Fifth Ab. Go on, Buddha. Okay. Can't hear anything from Buddha right now. So I'm going to go over to Vegeta.
Yeah, man. That was interesting to listen to, bro. But I think, you know what I mean, it sounded like some of it was conspiracy theory, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because See, when the Quran and the Hadith and the Bible do prophecies that eventually become true. What are you gonna say? We got that from the Greeks as well, man. And then my brother said the Garden of Eden is the human body. And then he said the Garden of Eden goes to Egypt. But you got humans bloody in Ethiopia and Somalia and all over the place, but we're not all in Egypt, man. So you know what I mean? That's how you know that's another made up, you know, hoax right there.
I never said the Garden of Eden goes to Egypt. I never said that.
Bro, you said the pyramid, man.
Yeah, on the crustacean of the ablata, I was showing you the human brain where it says Egypt. I don't know if you said that, if you saw that. If you look on the oblongata, you will see a crustacean which calls an efferent and an afferent where fluids go up. And that crustacean they call the pyramids, not Egypt.
Yeah, human body. You know what I mean? That's how you know this man's in denial right now, man. Now I'm telling the truth, bro. Then you got the bloody flipping historical fact that you're big in the Greeks up here. When the Greeks went to Kemet, bro, the Kemets bloody flipping got knocked out. That's facts, bro. Alexander the Greek beat the shit out of the Kemets, bro. He didn't even beat them up. The Kemets didn't want to fight. But everywhere else that Alexander the Greek met, you know what I mean, there was some resistance. The Israelites put up resistance, Persians. And when he came to the Punjab, boy, we beat the living shit out of Alexander the Greek, man. We slapped him up, put him in a choke slam, pedigree, and then sent him back. Alexander the Greek ran away, bro.
All right. Okay, so let me go over to, I've got you, Ricky, later on. Let me go to Ezra. Go ahead, Ezra.
Yeah, man. I rate that Vegeta still. Trust me. Like he said, you get me? Like, this is some Greek conspiracy theory, some old Greek conspiracy theory. That's all I've just heard. I'd like to know what part of what he just read here does he think refuted somewhere in the Bible? Like, what part? Like, I don't get it. Because it was all right. It just all sounded like opinions and conspiracy to me. There's no real evidence there of anything. Where was the evidence?
All right, Rich Kid, go ahead.
Well, I think if you look back through, it's there for you to look back. A lot of them were sourced. So all you have to do is just go and look at the book and you can make up your own mind.
No, I'm saying, in your opinion, what part of that, like, disproved anything in the Bible?
Because as I showed you earlier, where Bart Ehrman was saying that you don't have the original sources for the Bible, and a lot of your sources were intermingled with Greek texts. So if it was intermingled with Greek texts, according to what Philo was doing, then you must have Greek stories in the text.
Because a lot of the original texts were written in Greek, so they would be classed as Greek texts, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but where is the original text?
You're talking about the New Testament?
No, I'm talking about when you say the original text, where is it?
Like, what language was, like, the Dead Sea Scrolls that we know of, yeah? Mm-hmm. What, there wasn't written in Greek. It's Paleo-Hebrew and Aramaic. Yeah, only the New Testament's written in Greek. So obviously the New Testament would be classed as Greek literature, wouldn't it?
Okay, but I think I was talking about Jesus, and Jesus is in the New Testament.
Exactly. So the people who were writing the Gospels, writing in Greek, obviously would have been classed as Greek writers at the time, innit? When Paul's writing to these places, yeah, and he's writing in Greek, he's going to be classed as Greek literature, not Hebrew literature. That's just basic common sense, man.
Okay, but that's what we're reading today, though, right?
Yeah, when we're reading the New Testament, we're reading Greek literature. That's just common sense, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if you're reading Greek literature, why wouldn't you find Greek mythology in the literature?
Because it's Hebrew culture. So it's like, okay, then, like, an African coming to England and writing about his African culture, that don't make it all of a sudden British mythology. It's just British literature, yeah, about African culture. Same thing Paul was doing, writing about Hebrew culture, yeah, in Greek literature. What you say?
That's different, because the people who was writing at the time in the first century, like I keep saying, Philo, I had this on my slide, but it was going to take too much time. But Philo, when he was writing, he was merging Hebrew literature with Greek literature. So was Josephus. So once you look through the Hebrew literature, you're going to start seeing Greek literature in the Hebrew text. And when you look at some of
what Hebrew text, which one?
When you
name one.
When you look at the manuscripts that the Bible
which manuscript? Like which one? The Maserati,
they've got a few.
The Dead Sea. I don't. Well, you have to name one, fam. Like you can't just make these mad statements. Like
okay,
they have a few.
You know what?
Like,
if you go and look at
me,
hold on, because you're just going off. If you read Bart Ehrman's book, they will tell you that they got over 5,600. Okay,
well, I'm not asking you about Bart Ehrman's book. I'm saying what manuscripts here? Hebrew manuscripts are mixed up with Greek. Like
now that's what you're supposed to tell me, because that's why I asked you, where is the original Hebrew text?
I'm telling you, if we go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example,
so you're saying the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yeah, I'm saying it's translated from Paleo Hebrew, Aramaic, and then when we get the Gospels and that's written in Greek.
Yeah,
but
the
Hebrew Old Testament is not written in Greek anywhere.
Okay, so you're saying that that text is the Hebrew, that's Torah? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the Torah, is Paleo Hebrew. It's been translated from Paleo Hebrew. When we get into some of the prophets, that's Aramaic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're saying that the Torah was translated from Paleo Hebrew?
Yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls, yes.
So the Dead Sea Scrolls...
Sorry, can I just ask, what is Paleo Hebrew?
Paleo Hebrew is the ancient form. Not
no,
the oldest form.
That wouldn't be Paleo. Huh? That wouldn't be Paleo.
What do you mean?
You have a Paleo diet. You don't have Paleo Hebrew.
Bro, are you speaking in English or what?
Yeah, I'm speaking in English. You don't have Paleo Hebrew.
Bro, listen. What do you mean? There's no such? Are you saying there's no such thing as Paleo Hebrew?
In Israel today, in the Tel Aviv University, the scholars of Tel Aviv University will tell you there was no such thing as ancient Hebrew. They will tell you that they believe that the Hebrews derived from the Phoenician people and the language derived from ancient Phoenician. What are you talking about? This is what the Jews tell you today.
These same people don't even speak Jewish. They don't even speak Hebrew. They speak Jewish, Yiddish. Yeah.
No. They speak Hebrew and Yiddish.
Yes. No, they don't. Listen. No, I don't need to go to Israel. I know what they're speaking. Yeah.
They speak in Hebrew.
I'm learning Paleo Hebrew as we speak. So what are you talking
Hebrew
about?
Doesn't exist, my man.
How can it not exist when I'm learning it? What are you on about?
You're not learning Paleo Hebrew. You're calling it Paleo Hebrew. You call it Paleo Hebrew. That's what it's actually called.
No, the scholars, the same scholars that you want to call it Paleo Hebrew. So this is what I'm saying. Like
you're talking rubbish, bro.
You're being like a Muslim where you're picking and choosing.
Yeah. No.
The same scholars. I guarantee, Bart Ehrman, calls it Paleo Hebrew. The same scholars that you want to mention, huh?
All right, let me get some control over here, please. Mute your mics, everybody. I want to keep it skippy because I want to get Revenue on, and I also want to get Uncle Ty on because I've been waiting to hear Uncle Ty's voice. All right, so Revenue, please talk to us. Okay, Revenue.
Can I interject?
Nope. Revenue. All right, Uncle Ty. Uncle Ty, you available?
Yeah, Shalom. Can you hear me? Shalom.
Shalom. We can hear you.
We hear you, brother.
Hi. Beautiful. The title of your thing today was just a little bit unclear to me, so I wasn't really sure if I wanted to come on, but it just became clearer when the Bible thing came into it, and the brother did call out my name to say when he did speak to me, I said this and said that. So obviously it's just clear that it's sort of like the same kind of like subject we're dealing with. So I don't know, because if he's just giving his presentation and it's not really a challenge to me or Bible people, that's fine. I don't really need to disturb him. But if it's like something he's asking to challenge us, because it took quite a long time where he misrepresented too many things. In fact, everything he said is 95% BS, and only 5% about just makes any sense in terms of his own perspective. It's got absolutely nothing to do with our truth or the Bible. So, but if it's like something like we want to have a discussion with him back and forth, that's fine, because he's somebody who says he don't like a lecture, but he's taking an hour and something to give one. And people who will come on now will hardly have 2 minutes to talk to him about anything he said. So I just wanted to know, is it like really things like we have to like, you know, do a back and forth? I wasn't really prepared for today to bring anything like he brought something like he's got slides there. I didn't really prepare, but you know, I mean, within the means that I have, we will still like try and get him to prove the things he's saying. So, you know, how do we do it, brother?
Yeah. So, is there anything in particular that you would like to ask about the presentation? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's like 100. There's like 100 things. Never mind the fact that we as Hebrew Israelite Bible believing people, even Christians out there listening right now, they have a clear affinity with the biblical structure. I don't agree exactly with everybody's interpretation into the Bible, and I hope that is respected the same way I respect everybody to have a different view, even the brother who presented the information. I don't think all of you agree the same way, because only a week ago or something when we spoke, he said that there was something called Paleo-Hebrew. He tried to push me today. Now I think the brother Buddha is now saying there's nothing called Paleo-Hebrew. So you can see even in your communities, there's a whole lot of disagreement with all kinds of aspects of your narratives. But I don't want to even get into that. What I want to get into is questioning him and making him to prove that the sources he's quoting for are valid sources that even hold up to scrutiny, because any 5-year-old can clip together a cut and paste piece of information from anywhere and start presenting something. If nobody challenges them, they get away with it, and that's supposed to be intellectual.
Have you got a question? Have you got a question time?
You know what? Nobody disturbed you while you were speaking, so I think it shows again.
Yeah, no, Kalam told me to come on today to do a lecture. So if you want to blame Kalam for that, blame Kalam, not me.
Yeah, but I'm speaking to Kalam now. I'm not speaking to you. I think you should respect that. I'm speaking to Kalam right now. I'm not trying to get into an argument. I think we should be able to deal with these issues without becoming personally involved, brother. I really think we should.
What do you disagree with?
First question to you is this, yeah? Do you know about Leo Frobenius?
No, I don't.
Do you know about Leo Frobenius? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I don't.
All right, Leo Frobenius is a German, all sorts of science, yeah? When he went to Africa, yeah, he discovered Ife. I don't know if you know anything about Ife, which is in Nigeria, all right? Now in Ife, he not found, because this was just a normal daily occurrence for us, all right? But some of the sculptures he found of bronze casts of all sorts of different so-called gods in Ife, Nigeria. He said, upon seeing those things, the expertise with which these things were wrought, the replication, similarity, and identicalism only brought one thing to his mind, and that was ancient Greece. So he says, and you can check this, I'm gonna share my screen right now, yeah? And this is just Wikipedia, but you can what's it called? You can read up on his how do I see my 1 second? I'm trying to share his screen. I don't know how this goes. Okay. So you can now read up on let me see. How do you share this screen? Give me a second, family. You can read up on his.
You're talking nonsense, Ty. Brother Ty, you're talking nonsense.
Exactly, man. Talking nonsense, man.
No, well, listen, brother.
Ife ironwork predates ancient Greece, and it's been renowned for 3,000 to 4,000 years. You're talking nonsense.
Exactly.
Okay. Brother Kalam, do you think it's fair that we go down this route again? Is it fair?
Can I get you all to mute your mics, please? Your mics muted. Ty, please. Please ask your question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to show. I did ask a question. He says he doesn't know Leo Frobenius. Now, when Leo Frobenius went to Africa, Nigeria, Ileife, he found bronze casts that only reminded him of what you call ancient Greece. So the point is, he doesn't know that history. He doesn't know what's in Africa and how the Africans relate to the Bible. So he's seeing what he calls, he's the one calling it Greek mythology, and then trying to conflate that with a misunderstanding that he has about the Bible. Well, the people in Greeks, a lot of them were Hebrew Israelites. Scripture itself confirms that. Today, history confirms that. So you can't get around that. That's just to clear up one misconception that he has. So to me, it's like children who haven't done no homework. They've done their homework when it comes to them trying to disprove something. They haven't done their homework when it comes to them checking the thing. So second question I want to put to him, based on what he said the Garden of Eden, according to him, was the human body.
That's my
according
opinion.
to him,
That's my opinion.
You can repeat that again. Repeat what you said, please.
That's my opinion.
Say again. Sorry.
I said that was my opinion.
It's your opinion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you're wrong, because the Garden of Eden is actually a literal place. It's a literal historical place. So you don't really know, you don't know history, nor
Where was it? Where was the Garden of Eden?
Well, okay. You got Google Map right there?
No, just tell us.
I'm gonna tell you. I want to show you, not just tell you. I don't know how to.
Ty, why don't you just go to your Bible and read where it says the Garden of Eden?
Okay, no problem. Okay, we'll read that from the Bible. Yeah, go to Genesis 2, please. If somebody has that, please. Genesis 2. If you have your Bible, yeah. You got a Bible?
I'm just listening to you, Ty. Do your thing.
All right, Genesis 2:10, yeah? Let me see where to catch this from. Let me read it from, I'll read it from verse 8, Genesis 2 and verse 8, all right? And the Lord, our creator, life, yeah, I'm putting my own words in there just in case you say, oh, what's that, yeah? And the Lord, the creator, planted a garden eastward in Eden. You hear that? The Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden.
Did you hear when I was talking about, you said you came in late, but did you hear when I was talking about origin, when he was talking about the Bible of Genesis, and he was talking about, are you saying that God is a farmer and blah, blah, blah? Did you not hear all that?
Sorry, say that again, sorry.
When I was talking, I don't know how much you heard, I was mentioning what Origin was telling you about those things and saying that people who believe the literal story is unintelligent. And because the early church fathers, they didn't believe in that story because it didn't make sense. Exactly. So when you're saying to me these things, I'm saying your early church fathers who purport what you're saying didn't believe in the story you're about to tell me, because to this day, nobody's ever found the Garden of Eden.
Thank you.
Okay. If you let me finish before you counter. It would be really nice if you let me finish before you counter. All right. So there's a lot of things in the UK today that black people don't agree on unanimously. All right. Okay. That's just how it is. I can tell you a number of things in this country right now that black people see it differently. In America right now, Kanye West is speaking to Donald Trump. Some people don't agree with that. Some people do. Some people, there's 1,000 views on what's going on. All right. So we don't even want to go into that first.
Sorry,
let's finish the historical.
What is the question you want to ask?
Let me finish the historical reading first. Yeah. Then we'll go into the problem you have. Let me finish the historical reading. Yeah. Genesis 2:8 says, the Lord, the creator, planted a garden. Are you listening to that? He planted a garden eastward in Eden. Eden is a place. That's where the garden was put. So you now need to look for Eden. Now let's go and look for Eden. I don't know how to share my screen because I think I've got a little problem on my screen share here. But you know, just Google Map. Yeah. Eden is in what you call modern day Yemen. Eden is modern day Yemen.
According to you, Ty.
Listen, we can. Here we go. Here we go with this problem with these people. They don't want to listen. They want to make their point, but they don't want to listen to anything. They don't want to listen. All right. Eden, we'll see. We'll show you how it all adds up. All right. We'll show you how it all adds up. So we have Eden right on the southern part of Yemen. Yeah. Now, how do we know this is the same Eden? Because when we go back into the same book of Genesis, it tells you clearly. Give me a second. It tells you clearly in verse 10, all right, it says, and a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it was parted and became into 4 heads. Verse 11, the name of the first is Pison, that is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Verse 12, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. Verse 13, and the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia. So you can see, just by looking on your map, Eden, Ethiopia, and all the other places named in the same chapter, which is Assyria and the Euphrates River, they're all in that same region. Now, Eden in Yemen today is a serious place in the focus of religious historicity. If you didn't know that, all right, so you got no way around it. Now, secular scientists themselves have told you that the so-called Homo sapien started from the region around East Africa. Now, those places are technically the same as East Africa. And we're talking before the pre-Diluvian era. So, but these are all things that you don't know because it's not in your interest. So you fail again. Eden is a real place that still exists today. It's right there. So that just debunks your claim that they can't find Eden. Why would they want to find it? How come they can find Babylon? And look how close Babylon is to Eden. Look how close it is to each other. Look how close it is to Sumer. Look how close it is to Egypt. All these places are historical places.
Sorry, Ty, I'm not here to be taught, Ty. Come on.
I listen to you.
If you believe the Bible, what it says,
I didn't disrupt you from.
There's other people who want to ask questions, but we're not here to be taught by you, Ty. That's what
no, you are here to be taught by me. You are definitely here to be taught by me. You don't like it, but you can't run away from it. Every night you go to bed, this is your best subject. Remember about Brother Ty and remember his teachings.
Okay, if you think so. Fine.
All right. You must eat that up. So now you went into the word Baal. You see, you don't have any linguistic skills. You think reading things off stones that don't talk to you is language. You don't speak any language from any part of the world. So you couldn't possibly understand anything. You're looking at everything from a Eurocentric point of view, but yet you claim that they're the same people who gave us the Bible. But that's where you're wrong. You have to prove that the Bible is not an African book. Prove that to us. Only thing you can actually prove is the Bible is an African book. Hebrew language is an African language. All these people are black Negro people. Well, if you can prove that, where should you look for the history? Now, when you talk about church fathers, Israel don't have church fathers. Israel don't have church fathers.
What's your point?
Who's not asking a question?
What point is Babylon, man?
Family. All right, that's what I'm going to do. All right, thank you, Uncle Ty. I need to actually move on to other people now because it's only...
Sorry, brother, I can't hear you. Brother, please, sorry, I can't hear you. It's just me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only meant to be one question for each people because we want to make sure we get everybody.
Yeah, let me ask him that question now. Let me ask him one question now. Yeah, I just had to do what I had to do because he spoke for quite a long time and nobody stopped him. One question to him is this. One question to him is this. Can you tell me who, where, when, how, and why, if you say the Bible is false, yeah, who, why, how, when, and why they falsified the book called the Bible? Can you show me that?
Show me.
He did.
Obviously, Ty, you didn't see the lecture, and I think you said you came in halfway through or something.
Oh, not a lecture.
Well, whatever you say, Ty, but if you go back through it, you will see what I was talking about. I think you're just, at the moment, it's called verbal fideism. You're just speaking, but you're not showing no evidence of anything. So I'm just going to let you
speaking.
Just pure intellectual masturbation.
So I'm going to say right now, right? All right, you don't keep unmuting your mics here, so I can actually eject you guys. The next person that unmutes their mic without me giving you guys or should I say speaks, once your mic is on mute without me giving you permission, will be ejected, right? You've heard, right? There ain't no even extra warning than that one. All right, so now, I haven't had Revenue on. So Revenue, you got a question for Brother Richard?
Yeah, I got a question for you for Rich Kid, Kalam.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to know when was the Hebrew language formed? Because if we look at like Elephantine, they wasn't even speaking Hebrew. So I want to know when did the Hebrew language start and when did it die out? That's all.
You know what, brother? That's a good question, and I would say to you, you need to pose that question to Ty, because I'm not a Hebrew, or Ezra maybe, because I've asked that question and they haven't answered it. So
yeah, because
I would like a Hebrew Israelite to answer that.
Because we see the Septuagint and we see the Pentateuch, all these Greek books, and they claim that it comes from an earlier source, but we know that the way the Bible is written, it couldn't have been written before Plato Republic or any of those Greek literature, because the way how the Bible is written in like Greek style, so it can't be, the Hebrew language can't be older than the Greek language anyway. I just wanted to ask when.
Indeed, well, this is the point I was making when I was talking to them and showing them these things, because Ty's being disingenuous. And if you, I don't know where Gabs is, but if Gabs was here, he could tell you. We was talking we went to bed 7 in the morning. And I said to Ty, can you explain to me in Job 9:9, Job 38:31, why God was asking Job about Orion, Arcturus, Pleiades, and these things? He went on to tell us for about half an hour that God wasn't talking to Job. Job was talking to his friends. So me and Gabs just let him explain, and then you start saying to Gabs, because you're not reading and you're uneducated, you wouldn't know these things. But when we flicked around to 38, we found out not only that Job was talking to God, he was talking to God from out of a whirlwind. So we asked Ty, did you make a mistake in saying that Gabs was uneducated and that Job was talking to his friend? Ty had to apologize. This is his book. But if you read any of Job when God was asking him about these things are Greek mythology. Orion is based on Greek mythology. So I'm asking him, if your book was written in the original Hebrew that nobody can seem to find, why have you got Greek text in it? His answer was, Greeks came into Africa and injected their text into the text. What?
No, you're lying again. You're lying again.
That's what you said. If Gabs come on, Gabs can tell you. That's what.
Don't worry. You finish speaking. Let me speak so people hear my view. All right. Now, the last statement you made, I said Greeks came into Africa. I just told you from the beginning of what I started right here. Israelites were in the diaspora in all the nations. You see, when they
no, Ty, where is your text? You're going to rant. Where is your text?
Kalam, can you let us finish one thing?
Show me a primary source. You're not asking a question, Ty.
Here we go again.
We know that
Here we go again. This is Titans TV. Let me speak.
You know what, Ty? This is my show today. Kalam gave me this show
again.
today.
There we go. It's always like this on Titans TV. You will speak, but I can't speak. I don't find that really funny. Now I explained to you, when you understand what our Bible is, I don't care what you want to say about Christianity. We're not Christians. And if you understand history, you'll see that you'll know that Christianity and Hebrew Israelites are two different things.
That's correct.
Now,
so now let me hold on, Ty. Let me ask you a quick question.
I won't actually
hold on, a quick question. Do you and Ezra, who called yourself Hebrew Israelites?
I have to finish one point.
No, Ty, I'm not going to let you lecture me here. Do you and Ezra, as Hebrew Israelite, agree on the same thing? Yes or no?
Now listen, let me finish my point. Brother Kalam, can you just finish?
No, Rich Kid. No.
Thank you. And Ezra is a Hebrew Israelite. Ezra, why do you not disagree? Why do you disagree with Ty and you're a Hebrew Israelite? Please.
Brother, this is just called divide and rule.
To go with the Bible.
It's called divide and rule. I'm not speaking for everybody.
Ty, you have your own show. Just close your mic. You have your own show.
No. You disrupted me. You disrupted me while I was speaking. All right. Then you brought somebody else in there, which I think is just,
Take your 20 minutes.
It just reeks of madness, really. Let me finish my speech, and I'll mute my mic, and anybody can speak. But while I'm speaking, that's all I ask. Can people just hear me? All right. I don't need everybody to agree with me. It's not important. Nobody ever agrees with everybody. All right. Okay. But what we're saying is, when you go back into the history of Israelites, all right, they are in a diaspora the same way you, as an African, is in England, and you don't even speak your African language anymore. Here you are trying to use the words of Europeans to understand a history which stretches back thousands of years, which involves your people, of which you understand no culture or language. But we're supposed to listen to you. Now, the person who understands it,
Jesus Christ, just ask the question.
I will answer your question when I finish what I'm saying. So our people went into Greece the same way we are today in every other country of the world.
Who went into Greece?
Listen.
Who went into Greece? Who?
Israelites.
The Maccabees.
Right. In what time frame did they go into Greece?
Forever.
Ptolemy area.
Okay, thank you very much, Ezra. So the point I'm making to you, Ty, at that point, were the Egyptians, did the Greeks come to Egypt? Yes or no?
Everybody went everywhere. Went everywhere.
Did the Greeks have interaction with the Egyptians? Yes or no?
Listen to my answer. I'm not trying to run from anything.
Did you lie about...
Brother, can you let me answer when you ask a question? Don't force me to say anything, all right? Right now, the French come into England, the England go into French. It's no point saying...
What the hell is this guy talking about? Are you stupid or something? I'm asking you, did the Greeks have interaction with the Egyptians? And if they did, by chronology, what date did they interact with the Egyptians? That's what I'm asking you. Not England and Scotland and France and Belgium.
Well, you made a proverb the other time. You said...
Did you lie about Job? Did you lie about Job?
Listen.
Did you lie about Job, Ty?
Listen, can we keep it like civil, yeah? I will keep it civil, yeah? We're saying history overlaps, people overlap. There's no real question about did somebody come into somewhere. Ask yourself, did Jamaicans come to England? It's the same thing. So everybody goes everywhere. Everybody goes everywhere. They're called a different name wherever they go. There's black people in Australia. They're called Aborigines. There's black people in Nigeria. They're called Negro.
Is it just me? Is it just me? I'm not asking you, guys. Answer the question.
Everywhere. Everybody, I answered your question. Everybody goes everywhere.
Ty, here's the question. Let me answer the question because you just ranked. Here's the question. Did the Greeks interact with the Egyptians? And if they did, by chronology, what date did they interact with them?
That's a silly question to ask me. What dates did they interact? Are you saying there's only one person whose date we must accept? Are you actually serious? You think I'm one of your fools, innit? You think I'm one of your fools? Are you saying when we say the Jamaicans come to England, whose date should we accept? Tell me. You're
If
a
they
grown
showed
man.
you, if they showed you the Windwatch program and they
Whose
said
date?
in the if
Whose date?
Ty,
Listen,
just keep
listen,
quiet for a minute. Just keep
listen.
quiet. Ty,
Whose date?
please, just
Can
keep
you?
quiet. If you're saying that the Jamaicans came here and they said in the 60s, that's chronology. Chronology came from the chronos, chronology. So I'm telling you that by history, primary source, we know that the Egyptians, that the Greeks were interacting with the Egyptians. You can read the Odyssey, you can read Plato, Aristotle, and you can see them talking about the Egyptians. So Ezra just said to you, yeah, the Greeks did interact with us, the Maccabea. What era did I say? He told me. Why is it so hard for you to answer simple questions? Jesus Christ.
Can I interject now? Can I ask you a question, Rich Kid?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just that was a nice presentation. I don't think Uncle Ty, you just understanding your presentation and you just digressed from the presentation. Either you disagree with the sources you gave, like Bart Ehrman, all of these, but you just don't come here and ask other questions apart from the presentation. I think you're very disrespectful with that.
Thank
But
you.
I just wanted, so the presentation, one of the points you made was, because I'm a Muslim, and so you said about Adam, he was black. And when I was trying to read the screen, I couldn't see properly. What verse was that? You gave a verse.
It was from the devil's opposition.
So was it from the Quran?
Yeah, it was from the Quran.
Can you give me the verse, please?
You know what? You'd have to let me go back. I think it was 5 when the creation of Adam and the jinn. So I haven't got the information with me here. But,
because I don't think it says they're black in the Quran. It doesn't say aswad. It doesn't say the word black.
Well, in my Quran it does. And that, if you look back on the presentation, that's what it says.
Because the Arabic, I'm not talking about the English translation. I'm talking about the Arabic word.
Right.
So if the Arabic
So what's the Arabic word for black? Aswad, right?
Aswad, yeah. Did it say aswad there?
Right. That's right. Oh, what
So
you mean in the Arabic?
No. Yeah, it said, yeah. Does it say aswad in the Arabic?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, show me the verse, please. Because I read it doesn't.
Okay, you know what? I'll have to look for it. Just give me a second.
Yo, I got the verse there, bro. 1 minute.
Okay.
It's 15, 26. So Surah Hijr, verse 26. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ
من صلصال كالفخار. That one. Yeah, that's he doesn't say.
Yeah,
Mr. If I can remember right. Okay.
But حماء. That's black mud, isn't it?
One second. ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلصال من حماء مسنون. And we certainly create clay from an altered. من صلصال من حماء مسنون.
Yeah, the word hamma.
Is hamma black or is it black? So I'm confused.
The way I understand it, yeah, you see, it says over here potter's clay. Yeah, potter's clay. When you wet dust, it goes black or it goes darker.
Yeah, but that's
the way I
influence
understand
that's the influence from the word. Does it say black? Because he read the black.
You know what? I don't know if you saw the screen properly, but even when he gave you the translation at the bottom, he was saying that it's something that is burned in the oven. That's why they use the word black. So that's what your own text is saying. So
no, the text in Arabic. I don't care about the text in English. I'm talking about the text in Arabic because I understand Arabic.
I think he just read it for you, Gita.
Yeah. من حماء مسنون. That's not black. It doesn't say من أسود مسنون.
Yeah, it doesn't really say black though. He's right. It doesn't really say. It doesn't say aswad.
Yeah, it say من أسود مسنون. It say من حماء.
So what does when he said I created man from black mud?
No, you just say black mud. You're putting that in there.
I'm not putting that in the Quran. You can go back and look at the lecture and you'll see it in there.
I see. Yes, I see.
The word is hama. Is black. It's hama.
No.
You're saying I'm putting the word black in the Quran? It's in there, but I showed you on the screen.
1 second. No, you didn't. You're reading the English translation. I can translate the Quran for you.
You don't want him to be black. You don't want him to be black.
I don't mind him being black, but just give a right translation from the book. It says, "Ya وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَّاءٍ مَسْنُونٍ." It doesn't say "min aswadin masnoon."
So what does that mean in Islam? What does that mean?
It just means I can read it from an altered mud. It doesn't say black mud.
Okay, so why would that? Is black altered in Arabic?
No.
So why would they give you the English version and use the word black?
Chose a translation that suits your agenda.
Bro, this is the Quran I'm reading.
No, you're reading the English translation. You're not reading the Arabic, are you?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm reading the Arabic. I'm saying even if they translated from what you say, why did they give you the English translation as black?
There's in the Arabic what's it called language, each word has 3 or 4 meanings. You understand?
Oh, my brother, hold on real quickly. Hammam does mean black or very dark.
Yeah,
Hamad means
but what does Adham mean? Adam. That's why that means black anyway.
Yeah, it means
let's
dark.
read the
Yeah.
context.
So
So
I
it's
don't
not
know.
it's not it's
I
not
don't
me
know
putting it in there. So
where it's altered from.
Huh? And Sasalin altered means Sasal means altered.
Sorry,
It's
where
the
did you
word.
get?
It's the word Hamma. That was we're looking at.
No, the word Hamad. This the word Hamad. I'm just confused. The word Hamad means black because I never heard that before.
Yeah, it means black. It's kind of the
Can
root
be
word
something
of
else. One second.
cam. It's the root word of cam or kemet, which means black.
Okay, I need.
Or very
Yeah,
hot.
okay.
It can mean hot, black, all of that charcoal, feel to it.
So you're saying so your inference from there is Adam was black. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's not my claim. I'm not making that claim.
Oh no, I'm talking about Rich.
I'm saying from what we're reading in the back, the book, if an English person is reading that book and it said Allah created a man from a snowman, we would all expect the snowman to be white, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
So if he's using the word black, then I'm expecting that person to be black.
Okay, let's say for argument's sake is black. So what do you understand from that? Are you trying to say?
I'm saying if he is black and Allah told you that he was black, then don't, when Kalam or Sarah asks the question, don't say, not you per se, but people would normally say in Hyde Park, I believe he's colored, but Allah didn't say that. Do you understand my point?
Oh yeah, now I understand. Yeah,
it's not to say black is superior or anything. I'm reading from your text.
Yeah.
So if I'm reading the English and it says black and Kalam say it's black, then I'm expecting that Allah created the first man to be black.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
That's it, bro.
Yo, bro, one thing, yeah. You see him, the clay was black. What about when the clay dried?
It's still black, isn't it?
Ahmad. Became red, bro. Became red.
Nah, but look, if the first man's black, as even science teaches, yeah.
Bro, the white man science. Don't bring that to me, bro.
Listen, common sense and science teaches you that the first man's black.
Man.
Yeah, and then, yeah, if man's made in God's image, God's also black. But then that's the next story.
God is beyond our race, bro. I ain't gonna put a race towards God.
I said, yeah, if the first, let's just go with what it says, innit? Yeah, if the first man is black and man's made in God's image, yeah, God's image is what?
Bro.
There you go.
I'm just saying,
say something.
When you mix the entire world color, you're gonna get a brown man, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't really take the white man's science, bro. You know me.
Forget the science. I'm just saying, like, when science agrees with my Bible, then it's
I'm saying Somali black. You know, the northern Somali black. That sort of black, bro.
Nah, man. I'm talking like rich, from the richest soil. Adam was made from the richest soil. When you look at the richest soil, what color is that? The darkest one.
Bro, when the soil dries up here, have you seen? When the soil dries up, it turns grayish.
Nah, but it's made from the richest soil, so in his original state,
Oh Lord,
get me, he's black, fam.
This is a topic for another day, man.
Well, like I said, that even if you talk to Ezra, he would, and even if I disagree, because me and Ezra disagree with that, Ezra will tell you from his own book that they know that the first one that was created was black.
You all right?
Yeah, so that's it.
No, I've heard some hadith. It says Ahmar, red, which is like brown, yeah. So brown is like black is. There's a difference between black and brown, isn't it?
Yeah, like it just means very dark, innit? That's all they're saying. And the prophets are calling themselves black. Solomon, I am black. Job, my skin is black. All of these prophets calling themselves black. Yeah, they're not talking about my skin's actually black. They just mean very, very dark skinned, innit? Like Kadar, the word Kadar means black. You know what I mean? Very dark.
But you see, the hadith says Moses was black and Jesus was Ahmar, which is reddish.
No, your Quran, your hadith in Sahih Bukhari tells you Muhammad. You know what? I'll even read it for you. It makes you know Muhammad says, no, I swear by Allah, I didn't say Jesus, Isa was red. or light skin. I was walking by the Kaaba and I seen a black skinned man, and then
Mhm.
he says, "You get me?"
That was Ibn Abbas. That he
Huh?
said that. I think that was Ibn
No,
Abbas.
It doesn't matter. It
okay.
doesn't matter. Let's say every
Since
prophet was.
Sahih Bukhari,
Brother,
you-
man.
no bother with that. Yeah.
The hadith says
And
there's a difference
Moses
between
black
Moses
in
and Isa.
Alright, let me get it for
Yeah.
you still, guy. You don't know.
Love is balance,
And
bro.
then once
Moses
again,
was black, Jesus
Rich,
was brown, and Prophet Muhammad was light skin.
Watch
That's
this.
how it works,
Watch
man.
this.
Fair skin Arab.
let me just ask a question to Uncle Tai. Uncle Tai, you on? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I need to ask you a question. So what do you have to say about the presentation, Rich Kid Cave, about the different manuscripts, the contradictions, everything about what he said? What do you have to say about that?
Well, as you all know, the Brother Tai has a lot to say about whatever concerns his Bible.
Mhm.
But if we're going to have somebody who speaks for 2 hours and then me coming to speak for 2 minutes and then have 8 people ganging up at the same time, it won't really make much sense to speak, will it? So I
Yeah.
just stay on because it's Brother Kalam's channel, all right? Otherwise, it's hard to talk like that. But if it's on a neutral platform, which we've challenged him to come on, he would need to prove the same way I need to prove anything.
Sorry, stop lying to the people. I came on your platform and you kept kicking me off your platform every time I answer a question.
Now, one second.
And then when you talked about Job, you still haven't answered the question because Gabs, if Gabs is around, you tell the people right now.
One second.
Ty, hold on a minute. Tell the people right now, Ty, was you wrong when you was breaking down Job? Yes or no?
No, I wasn't wrong when I was breaking down Job. No.
So Job, was Job's talking to his friends or was he talking to God?
No, he actually wasn't talking to his friends.
But you said he was talking to his friends, right?
I did say before, when you see the focus of the scripture or the focus of the words you picked out in the scripture, if you would be honest, I don't know who I would, see where we come from. If you are Ma'at, yeah, if you are, yeah, you would always tell truth. Before we went into that scripture, the focus was not who is speaking to who. Am I correct?
When we spoke about the scripture, I was
He won't answer. He won't answer the simple.
I'm answering you, but you're not letting me speak, Ty.
No, sorry, I can't hear you. Speak up.
I said to you,
low.
Me
Sorry.
and Gab said to you, and I think Ezra, there's a couple witnesses that was there. Yeah, I think Ezra was there. I'm not too sure. I asked you, why was God speaking to Job about Greek mythology? You went on to say that it wasn't God that was speaking to Job, it was his friends. Then you went on to lecture us about what he was talking about and then told Gabs, and I think myself, that we was uneducated. But then when we turned the page, we found out that he was actually talking to God. Then you apologize.
What
Did that happen, yes or no? Did it happen, yes or no?
Okay, listen, can I put the
Did it happen, yes or no?
Rich Kid with digressing.
Yeah, that's what he does. He likes to digress.
Why can't you just answer that though, bro?
Just answer that question. It's a simple question.
I wasn't
Was
there.
you wrong?
Answer the question then.
Was you wrong, yes or no? Was you wrong, yes or no?
No, I wasn't wrong.
So
no.
why did you apologize?
I didn't apologize for the perspective you were asking is not what you're letting the people hear now. Listen, the question he asked, just listen. The question you asked was about 2 words in that paragraph. That's what the focus was about. But before I even started, I said to you, if I remember clearly, I think that paragraph, I did say I think, and if I remember. So it's already put out there that I might get
Did you go to the Bible verse?
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Did you read it, Ty?
This shouldn't even be our problem, because what's the point of me trying to say to you something if I'm not sure? But it's not even anybody who even
was sure, Ty. I can't wait till Gabs come on. You was sure. You actually finished the verse.
No, we're arguing.
Gabs that he was uneducated.
Now let's get back to the main topic, because you see, this guy is a little baby. Yeah, he's a little. That's all he wants to do is just digress off the
Uncle
point.
Tai, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry. Go ahead.
One second, Vegeta.
One second.
Can I just give Vegeta this verse? 1 second, because I wanted to give this to Vegeta because it's like he didn't know about Isa. So
yeah,
in his and Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 3185. Yeah,
What volume? What volume?
More volume. Wait there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you, bro.
Okay. Ibn Umar said, "No, I swear by Allah that the Prophet did not say that Jesus was light-skinned, but he said, while I was asleep, I was walking around the Kaaba when I saw a black-skinned man with straight hair between two men. I asked who the man was, and I was told that he was Isa, son of Maryam."
I can't accept that, man. I'll tell you why.
What do you mean?
Because the hadith in Bukhari is narrated by Salim from his father, who said the same thing. No, by Allah.
So what? Umar's no good now. Umar's no good. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't see
because he's black.
Umar's black as well. That's why.
No. Listen. We don't have a problem that he's black. But if the hadith is weak, as the other brother is saying, it's weak.
Bukhari, how is it weak?
No, it's not weak. Yo, let me talk. Where Ibn Umar said, which hadith is it? Because I don't see Ibn Umar.
3185.
Alright, so we got a hadith from Ibn Abbas saying that Jesus was of red complexion. Alright.
From who?
Ibn Abbas in Bukhari. Yeah. You want the full one? Ibn Abbas saying it. Abu Ali saying it. Same thing, red complexion. Now, this is Ibn Umar. This hadith is the same Muslim. Is narrated on the authority of Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, "I saw near the Kaaba a man of fair complexion with straight hair placing his hand on two persons. Water was flowing from his head, trickling down an arch. He is Jesus, son of Mary, or Al-Masih." Alright, that's in same Muslim Ibn Umar. The one that you're talking about is Salim from his father.
Listen, you just read from Sahih Muslim, yeah?
Yeah, brother.
Well, this one's from Sahih Bukhari, fam.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are you saying?
It's not Ibn Umar though. It's Salim.
Ibn Umar said. What are you on about?
Brother, I'll drop the link in the back chat right now, bro. Alright, you got the wrong narrator. Brother, even then, Abu Hurairah is saying red complexion. Alright.
Listen, I've got about 10 different hadiths here that show you Moses is black, Isa black, everybody's black.
We don't mind.
So how can they start off black and then turn red?
Bro,
how does that make
Moses
sense?
Is black, yeah. That's all the Sahaba say Moses is black.
So how did they all turn red, bro?
Who said they turned red? Who said it red?
1 minute, brother.
He's saying that, innit?
All the Sahaba said Jesus was a red complexion, except one.
Fam, the Sahaba wasn't there. How did they know?
Yeah, you know a red bond. You know heard of red
how would
bond,
the Sahaba know about
Revelation?
Revelation.
Yeah.
Bro,
please don't go to Revelation.
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to the people who were walking with him. Yeah,
exactly.
His cousin who actually described.
No, 1 second. Let
me say what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, I'd rather listen to his cousin who described him when he turned up. Yeah, when he first got back from Egypt. That's what I'd rather listen to. So you actually see, huh?
Could be.
1 minute. In the Bible, yeah, which metal was it? Bronze or copper?
It's bronze. It's good. Brass, burnt brass. It's not bronze.
As if it burned in a furnace.
Burnt brass, as if it burned in a furnace. Yeah.
Brass,
what color is that, bro?
Huh? Brass, copper. When you put brass in a furnace, it turns red, bro.
Bro, brass is already brown. When you put it in a furnace, listen. Google it right now. There's a thing called burnt brass. It's dark. It's a dark shade of brass.
Brass is goldish color,
bro. And then there's a thing called burnt. My auntie's got a pot that's burnt brass. You can buy them now. It's an actual color. You don't know what you're talking about. Bro.
Okay. Isa is black. Yeah, Isa is black. Is that good for you?
Well, we don't really care what.
He's acting like we care now.
We don't really care, man.
So let me finish my point. So Uncle Tai is still on. Uncle Tai.
Yo, Ezra, we talk about this later on.
Yeah. So basically, I was gonna ask you the questions. The rich kid brother, he told you about Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, even the crucifixion of Jesus. They all say one says it's on the night of the Passover, one says the day before the Passover. That's the first question. Why do Mark, Matthew, Luke, John disagree on the day of the crucifixion? That's the first question. Yes, they do. I'll give you the verse as well. Second question is, I will. Second question is the Jonah stuff. For Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish. so shall the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. So the story of Jonah, was Jonah alive when he was in the belly of the huge fish? That's one question. And the answer to that, I would say, is he was alive because he was asking God to save him. He was giving prayer. So someone that's giving prayer should be alive. And comparing that, so he said, for as Jonah, this is like Jesus is saying to the Pharisees, this is the only sign I will give you. This is the only sign. And this sign will be as like Jonah. So I want you to answer this. Is this as like Jonah or unlike Jonah? 1 second. Was Jesus alive when he was in the heart of the earth? Jonah was dead. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. So if you want to say the time factor is what Jesus is talking about, again, the time factor is also a problem to me. So the time factor, he says 3 days and 3 nights. This prophecy is also unfulfilled because Jesus was not in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, as we know. Now, 1 second, you can laugh all you want. This prophecy I have a big problem with this prophecy. And if this prophecy,
You should. It wasn't meant for you.
No. You have a problem with it. You can't answer it. Let me finish and you can answer it for me. Okay? So if you want to talk about the time factor about 3 days and 3 nights is unfulfilled. The fact that he was alive, Jonah was alive, and Jesus was dead, that's also unfulfilled. So you got nowhere to run. Can you please answer both of the questions? Thank you.
Yeah, the first one, like, was they alive? You need to understand. If you don't understand, then there's nothing I can do about it.
No. What do you mean I don't understand?
You asked a question. Yeah, you asked a question. Right?
That's not a way to answer that. I don't understand. Make me understand. That's not a way to answer.
That's what I'm trying to do. But I'm just talking. All right. If you don't like the answer, you don't need to ask me anything. All right. I listen to you. Right. So if I died, me myself, yeah, I died once. All right. I once died. All right. When I died, all right, everybody was gathered around me. All right. My twin brother was there. My twin was there. That's a witness who was there. I was down and I was dead and I was out. All right. While I was out, I continued in the journey of life. And I went up into the heavens and I was shown where I had to go.
Yo,
and I didn't argue that. Listen.
Sorry.
You asked a question. Come on, guys. Let somebody finish talking first. Yeah?
I'm not speaking.
Somebody finish talking first. It's only fair. That you let people talk, all right? If you ask a question, let people talk, all right? So I went up into the heavens and I was shown where I had to go. Now, everything I communicated, I didn't even need to open my mouth. And I would have remained in that realm of what you call death or dead or somebody who was gone because I had an accident. And I landed on the ground with my head. And that was it. It was out. Yeah, it was a very horrible landing. All right. So I had witnesses there. So when I was up in the heavens, I was now shown where I had to go. And I didn't like it. And I started to cry. And you can't even speak. You can't even argue with the people holding you, telling you where to go. You can't. Because you already know that, yeah, that's where you need to go. So, but in my spirit, I said to my creator, please give me a chance. Even if I'm going to go there, give me a chance to go back down quickly to tell my twin brother not to come here. That's all I said within my spirit while I was out of body. As soon as I said that, listen, let me finish because you get the answer.
Is that your answer?
Listen, can you see the people too in a hurry to get answers? You're too in a hurry to get answers.
Please stop.
You don't want it to be quiet.
Let somebody else talk, please.
Quiet. You don't need to be quiet. Please. Now you're all pretending like if a whale swallows a man, that you just understand it from being outside of where you are right now.
It's not a whale. According to the Hebrew
so then let's finish.
It's a fish. It's a huge fish.
Brothers, let's just finish the thing, yeah?
One second.
Scared because people will learn something. I think that's what. All right.
Now,
listen, brother, it's just 1 minute more. Just 1 minute more. Just 1 minute more. Yeah. So I came down back into my body. Back into my body, and as soon as I came back down, I opened my eyes and I was staring at like 20 people and into the skies. And I started crying and yelling out to them. I saw God. I saw heaven. I saw God. I saw heaven. That's what I started saying to them. Anybody who knows my classmates of that time, they will verify that to you. Now, what will I say about my situation? Did I die? Yes. What will they say about my situation? What they're going to say? They're going to say, well, he didn't die. How will they say that? Because I'm still alive.
Sophistry.
So that's the answer to your question when you say, did he die? So that's the answer to your question. All right. So that's number one. Number two, you're talking about the time frame. What do you mean time frame? What exactly do you mean time frame? I don't know.
Okay. So I'm saying the verse says, for as Jonah, this is the only miracle Jesus was gonna give to the Pharisees. Said the way Jonah, what happened to Jonah is gonna happen to me. That's what Jesus said
It
to.
wasn't a miracle; it was a sign.
Yeah, it was a sign. Yeah, he said, for as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the huge fish. So that he's comparing his sign to Jonah's sign. So is it a time factor that he's trying to compare it to? That's what I'm trying to ask you. Is it the time factor that you?
3 days
Will
of being. 3 days.
he be in the belly of the?
Listen, 3 days of being in a hell type condition. That's all he's talking about. Yeah.
No. Was he alive? Was Jonah alive or dead in the huge
Just
fish?
that simple.
Was Jonah alive or dead in the huge fish?
Listen, he was alive.
Okay, he was alive. Was
It's a
Jesus?
hell type. Listen,
No.
Listen, let me explain it to you.
Finish.
He was
Let
in
me finish.
hell. He was in the condition.
Let me condition, bro.
Yeah,
You're not
understand.
listening. Let us
Let me-
explain it to you, man. Like,
Let me
let's
finish. Just answer my question.
okay, now, bro. We're answering the question, but you just,
Was Jesus dead or alive in the earth? Yes or no?
bro. We just
Well,
says, yeah, he was dead. Jesus,
That's it. Is
yeah.
that like Jonah or unlike Jonah?
Listen,
You
he was
want the
spirit,
answer or you
his
just gonna
flesh.
talk?
Listen, man. I know you're not listening to the answers, bro. You're still talking. So what we're saying is, yeah, it's a condition on earth. Yeah, the grave. Hell just means a grave.
No, he's not. He's got nothing to do with the hell. He's got nothing to do with the hell. Where?
Tell us about our Bible.
No. Where does the verse mention about hell?
See, you guys don't want answers. You don't.
No,
even,
1 second.
You don't even wait
Where
for
does the verse mention about hell? Read it. Pull it up and read it properly.
Okay, I'm read it
Because
again.
I guarantee you've never read it.
No, I have. Let me read it again.
The King James.
Teacher, we want to see a miracle sign from you. Yeah? And then this is how...
Go on.
It's got nothing to do. Let's see if it mentions about hell, yeah? Teacher, we want to see a miracle sign from you, yeah? This is how Jesus responded. This is the only sign that we will give to these Pharisees that were trying to mock him, basically. Trying to mock him.
No, I'm saying what actually happened.
For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the huge fish, so shall the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. So this is what I'm trying to come up. Not about hell.
Of the earth.
He's talking about the
a grave. A grave.
So he's
ain't got no sense, fam.
No.
In the Bible, the grave is also considered hell. You don't know the scripture. That's your problem.
No. What did this prophecy got? What did this prophecy got to do with Jonah? He said,
read the scripture again. Read the scripture again. Read it again.
He says,
tell the people where your scripture is so they can check themselves, please.
Matthew 12:40.
Matthew 12 and 14, right?
Yeah, and I heard a lot of biblical scholars talk about this verse. I haven't seen any answer to this. So that's what I'm trying to get you answer.
The only biblical scholars, brother.
No. I don't care about you. Just answer the question.
But I'm telling you.
Okay, don't worry. Let me see if you got answered, isn't it? So I heard a lot of biblical scholar lectures about this verse, and none have given the answer. So let's see if you can give the answer. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so shall the Son of Man. So this is a comparison, use of comparison. So shall the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
What exactly?
Let me finish first.
I will let you finish.
Yeah,
just point out the details from what you're reading.
Calm down, man. You're too excited, bro.
Go ahead.
Okay. So if you read the story about Jonah, where he went into when he was trying to run away from the mission, the Creator gave to him, and he's on the ship. And then the people, when there was a storm, and the people, they used to have this kind of, they used to play these lots to choose and who was the problem to the storm coming. So they did heads or tails on each person. And when it was Jonah's turn, they did heads or tails. So he was chosen and he was thrown off. But then, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go on.
Okay, so when it was Jonah's turn, either way, Jonah was like, "It's me. I want to go." He was not forceful. He was not was not like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So he was like, I want to go. So this is what I'm trying to say. He was alive when he was thrown off the ship. So he was thrown off the ship. That's the first miracle. He was thrown off the ship and he was alive. That's the first miracle. The fish ate him and he was still alive. That's the second miracle. That's what I'm trying to say.
In the heart of the earth.
You need to focus on the details. You need to focus on is found within. Listen, brother. The details you need to focus on is found within the scripture that you read. Just read the scripture. Tell us the pointed focus so we can look at it.
I'm trying to say, is this prophecy like Jonah or unlike Jonah?
Read the scripture again.
I just read it.
You just said it's like Jonah, a hell type condition.
A hell type condition. Is that the comparison that you're trying to make?
Yes.
But why does it mention 4 times, 3 days and 3 nights? What's the reason?
Because both was in the hell type condition for the same period of time.
No, they weren't. That's what I'm trying to
say. Listen, let me put a perspective on this for you, all right? Now it's easy for you to pick one perspective that can be relevant to the scripture and ignore all the other ones, all right? So if a white man says, I'm gonna be like Michael Jackson, I'm gonna be like Jay-Z, is he saying he's going to be black?
Okay, did you hear did you hear the verse I just wrote?
I heard what you said. I'm asking you a question, just a simple question. Okay. If a white brother says he's going to be like Jay-Z, is he saying he's going to be black?
No.
What is he saying?
I don't know. What is he saying?
Oh, there we go again. This is the problem with you. You didn't read anything in there.
Answer the question. Just answer the question. You're digressing again.
Brother, I will let you finish because you spend time trying to clarify and explain yourself. And I don't mind you trying to do it again, yeah? But just make a little point that's clear enough. He says, if we're reading right, for us Jonah's was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. So
the belly of the huge fish. Huge fish.
That's why I said read it. That's why I said read it.
Yeah.
So it comes from your mouth. So I'm reading my one here. But if you want to read it, I'll let you read it.
It's a fish. KJV.
No, brother. Listen, you can read what you have there. Let's not change the topic. We're trying to focus in on one thing here. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, if you ask Christ to elaborate on this little chapter, he would elaborate, and you could have a book about it. All right. If you ask me to write about this little chapter, this little verse, I could write a book about it. Don't think there's only one little narrow understanding of what you want to take from this.
That's my understanding. That's my understanding. I want to hear your understanding.
Then listen. You got to take the most important understanding is when Jonah went into the belly of the fish. One conclusion that people come to. What is the first conclusion they come to?
He was alive.
When a fish swallows you, they think you're alive.
No. He was alive according to the Bible.
Listen, you see, the question I ask you is simple. If you don't want to answer, just tell me so I don't waste people's time. When a fish swallows somebody, what do people think has happened to the person?
He's dead.
He's dead. And if they think he's dead, what don't they think is going to happen to him again?
Yeah, come back alive.
That's what people think. So that's what Christ was alluding to. When the fish swallowed, listen, let me finish. I ain't arguing with you. You just asked a question, yeah? I'm not arguing with you. When a fish swallows somebody, people think it's over for you. You're not coming back again.
No. That's wrong.
Listen,
that's wrong.
Brother, let me finish.
According to the Bible, he was alive, and the Pharisees knew that he was alive.
So according to the Bible, the scriptures was given to Israelites.
Yes, he was alive. He was alive already. So brother, you can't say what people think.
Brother, let me finish this point first, yeah, and then you can make your point on that one. But if you cut me before I finish, it's madness, right? When Christ, given all the things that has been happening in his life around his disciples and what was expected of him by his nation, example when he said, destroy this temple and in 3 days I will raise it up again.
Yes.
Everything has context. So it's not only one time did he give the example of 3 days, right? So now when he's saying the sign that Jonah gave, was to people was that one of death. Don't forget, our Christ came to tell us he's the truth, the way, and the what?
Life.
And the life. That was the sign that if Jonah can go into death and come out in life, that's the sign you're going to get from me. I'm going into, listen, brother. I'm going into death. I'm going into death, and I'm going to come back to life. That's the whole story that he's trying to tell you.
and
nothing more, nothing else.
And brother, the thing is, like what you have to realize is there's people in real life that you can go and check out. Yeah, they've woke up in the morgue. Yeah, days later, there's people that have woke up at their own funeral. You know what I'm saying? So when you see somebody resurrected 3 days later, it shouldn't sound like such a miracle or something.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is this prophecy fulfilled? Yes or no, and why?
Say that again. Is it the prophecy? What?
Is it fulfilled? Because what I'm trying to come out, I don't care if he was alive or not. I believe what the Bible says Jonah was alive. I don't have a mind believing the fact that when the fish ate Jonah, he was still alive, still praying to God for 3 days and 3 nights while he was going around the ocean. That's why I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is what Jesus is trying to say. He's trying to say
But when Jesus went to his grave, listen, bro.
Jonah was not alive. All right, you cannot stay.
Jonah was alive. Jonah was alive while he was in the fish.
Belly of a fish. Can't stay in the belly of a fish and be physically alive.
He was alive.
Jonah was alive.
Right? So when you say Jonah was alive, that's a lie.
Ty, man, let me just.
Anyone who says Jonah was alive can come and try it.
He was alive.
Listen, let me speak to him because I believe Jonah was alive.
So do I.
That's a belief. That's just a belief.
Yeah, well, okay, then let's go and see what the scripture's saying. So wait there. Let me just respond to him. Yeah, all I'm saying is it's when it was fulfilled, because when the Messiah went to his grave for 3 days, that's him going to the heart of the earth, like he was talking about.
I don't believe. That's what I'm trying to say to you. I don't believe that he was in the earth for 3 days. Let me give him a reason. So how can you feel? How can you? No. I don't care. Let's see what the scripture has to say. Yeah. So how can we fit 3 days and 3 nights between a Friday afternoon and a Sunday morning where Mary Magdalene found Jesus' tomb to be empty? So can you explain that? That's let me count this. That's Friday morning, Saturday morning, Saturday night. That seems two nights in 1 day. And Jesus went out of his way.
What is the day?
Where does it say Friday morning?
What is the day according to the scriptures? What is the day?
What was the day according to scripture?
What is the day according to the scriptures?
Okay, let me find that for you.
Yeah, get back at me.
Ezra, can I ask you a quick question, Ezra?
That's the problem.
No. I'll tie it. Stop cutting me off. Ezra, can I ask you a quick question?
Go on, fam.
You know the guy, Ezra, and the guy called the God of Jacob?
Yeah.
They're both Hebrew Israelites, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Is the Bible written for all nations or just the Israelite nation?
Just the Israelites.
Okay. Ty, is the Bible written for Israelite nations or is it written for Europeans?
Sorry, say that question again.
Is the Bible written for only the Israelites or is it written for everyone, or Europeans, the Chinaman, everyone?
It's written for Israel by Israelites, and some of it concerns everybody.
But when I asked you the other day, you said the Bible was written for the whole world and Europeans. So when I talked to Hebrew Israelites, he will clearly tell you this book is for Israel, and he can actually go to a quote where it says that. But you're introducing a new form of Israel, Hebrew Israel.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
and that's
I
what
agree
the
with
problem
that.
I have with it.
Listen. Listen. Everything has context, which is sometimes hard to separate. All right, everything has concept, which is sometimes hard to separate. For example, if the black government in South Africa, if they speak for South Africans, some whites feel it doesn't include them, whereas some whites knows that it includes them. So if you listen to the point of view of some whites, they will tell you this guy is not speaking for us. Some blacks in America don't believe or don't even think that Obama did anything for black people. But some blacks think so. So listen, you can have
why can't you quote me from the Bible? You keep talking about this stuff. If I talk to Ezra, please quote me from the Bible and tell me that verse.
We can quote from the Bible.
I can show you where old
Listen.
and new covenant is for Israelites only. So, like, I don't understand. You know what I mean?
Well, Ezra, if you think it's for Israelites only, you can
Let's
talk.
go to Hebrews 8 and 8. Let's see what it says.
Yeah, go ahead.
there.
Go
Let's
on
go.
then. Go on.
Let's
Go
go.
on.
I found the day when Jesus was crucified. So let's get back to the point.
No, wait there, bro. Wait there, man.
Oh no, let Ezra just read that.
See, we're jumping from one point to another.
Nah, let's just deal with this point because this is important. Look, Hebrews 8. Okay, I'll go from 7. For if it that the first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he said, Behold, the days come, said the Lord, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord, I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people.
So
Israelites, what that mean?
African Israelites. Sorry.
So what's your point, Ezra? What's the point?
I'm saying old and new covenant, and for the Israelites, that's the point.
I don't deny that. I mean, was that the question?
So what's to do with this?
No, what a rich kid asked is the Bible written for, or is it for Israelites only, or for the whole world as well?
But that verse just explained that both covenants, yeah, the Bible.
No, I mean, if we're asking covenants, the covenants are only to Israel. That's true.
So which part of the Bible is for the other nations?
That's the kingdom news, called the good news. The kingdom news is for all the nations.
Bro, what part of the Bible is that, please?
News. What book is that?
What book is that, bro?
Uncle Ty.
Yeah, and you see what I'm doing. Now, do you see what I'm doing?
Where is the Kingdom News? Can someone pull up the Kingdom News? Do this year.
Well, listen.
I think that's in Mark's though.
Yeah, if you don't like it, it's all right, but we can read it in the book, all right?
Gabs, can you open your mic, please, Gabs?
What's
Let me ask Gabs a question. Gabs,
Yeah, open your mic up.
the other night when we was talking.
Can we read from scripture?
Oh, T.Y., please, don't cut me off. The other night when we was talking, did he lie about Job? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Did he not say that Job was talking to his friends and then went on to call you uneducated because you didn't understand the text?
Yeah, you said I was uneducated because I didn't understand the text, but you said Job was he had a conversation with his friends until obviously we had to correct him and show him that it wasn't his friends, he was actually talking with God. Yeah,
and then afterwards, I got him to apologize. Did he apologize?
Nah.
Listen, we're character assassinating. Let's get back to the point. Oh, Ezra.
Yo.
I say
so earlier
you as a Muslim, that's what they want to do, right? But if we want to get back to the point, Ezra, can we address the point? Which
one second.
Now, can I just ask him a question? Like, do you agree that Job and the Messiah were both in a hell-type condition for 3 days?
That's right.
Can we agree on that? Come on, man.
Who's he asking?
That other guy.
Huh?
That guy, the Muslim guy, who is that then? Yes. Go on.
Yeah, so basically, let me get back to my point. You're asking me
Can you ask my question quick?
Yeah, go on, what was your question?
Can we agree that Job and the Messiah were both in a hell-type condition for 3 days?
Yes, I agree with you, but...
Well, then that's it then. There's nothing else to discuss.
Nah. You told me he was there for 3 days and 3 nights. That's what I'm homing on. You understand? So what day?
Have you found the day? That it happened on?
Luke 23:54. It was on preparation day, and the Sabbath was about to begin. That's when he was crucified. Yeah.
Sabbath was about to begin. So what day is that?
That's on a Friday according to the Jewish calendar. On the Friday, no. Let me finish. Let me go to the Jewish sources. 1 second. The Sabbath day begins at sundown on Friday.
No, the Sabbath day is the 7th day of the month.
Yes.
And then every 7 days afterwards. You don't know what the Sabbath is.
No, I'm looking at Jewish sources, yeah. So if you
I'm telling you about forget
Brother,
Jewish
you is
sources. I
off
got the
because
Bible,
you
bro.
don't know how
you're
many
not Jew.
hours are in the day.
Listen, we're talking about the Bible. I don't want to hear about your Jewish sources.
No,
Pull
see,
up the Bible scripture, yeah, and read that.
who was Jesus speaking to? Pharisees, Jews. Who was he speaking to? Who's he speaking to? Who
When?
was he speaking to?
When?
When he was saying that for 3 days and 3 nights, when the Pharisees asked him, who was he speaking to? Was he speaking to you?
Israelites.
He's talking
Yes.
to, it's
So
people that man.
let's look at their calendar.
Fam, they ain't got no calendar. The calendar is in Genesis 1 and 14. Yeah, look, let me give you the calendar because I don't know what we don't deal with scholars, fam.
So I'm not dealing with scholars. I'm looking at sources.
You are. Listen,
No,
I don't
no.
hear about your Jewish sources, bro.
See, you just wanna use your own intellect.
We're not Jewish. Yeah, so don't come with no Jewish sources. Listen,
I'm using Jewish calendar. Who was he speaking to?
Listen, there's
Show
no
me
Jewish calendar.
Jewish
Listen,
in the Torah. Show me Jewish in the Torah. Show me the tribe
This
of
is the
Judah.
calendar, Genesis 1 and 14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years." That's our calendar right there.
So what day is it? What day is it?
Yeah. You tell me what day it is. You're acting like you know.
To answer the question, I'm saying it's Friday afternoon. I'm saying
Listen, I'm telling you, the Sabbath is not a Friday every single week.
Is it? Are you trying to hide away from the? I'm trying to ask you, what day is it?
Listen, it says before those preparing for the Sabbath, but what I'm telling you is, Sabbath is not the same day.
It was a Thursday.
Exactly.
No.
You don't know the days according to the scriptures. It's not like a 24-hour day.
Okay, tell me, how is it Thursday?
I asked you how many days. What's a day according to the Israelite scripture?
Okay, how do you know it's on a Thursday?
Go find out before you bring charges up against the book, brother.
No.
The scripture.
You said it's on a Thursday.
Don't do what Rich Kid did. Well, Rich Kid presented a good presentation, even though I disagreed with all of that. But all I'm saying is, actually, if you're gonna disagree and you're gonna like try and diffuse and refute us, what you need to do is go to the Bible, and
Luke 23:54.
Yeah, but you're like, what I'm saying is, you're not actually giving us the day. We're trying to explain to you, what the scripture's actually saying.
I know. I'm saying it's Friday afternoon. Tell me what day you're saying. I want to know where you're coming from. What day are you
preparing? If it was the preparation day before the Sabbath, it was a Thursday.
You see, the preparation day is when we cook the food, and we prepare all of our stuff for the Sabbath.
No, everyone agrees. Matthew 27.
Listen, it's not the same. Listen, you're not listening. That's the problem with you, You're not listening, bro. Yeah, you see, before the Sabbath, there's a day of preparation, where you prepare, because there's no cooking or working or none of that on the Sabbath. So you have an extra day. You go extra hard on the preparation day. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. So what day is it?
It's the day before, so it would not have been the Friday. Even if it was a Friday that month, it would not have been that same day that you're speaking of.
So are you saying Thursday night?
Thursday, yes.
Thursday night?
Yes. Preparation day for the Sabbath is the whole Thursday, if it's the Thursday that month.
So you're saying it's Thursday night?
Yeah.
Now, where's the evidence for that?
The preparation day for the Sabbath is the
so you're saying it's a day
before the Sabbath, bro.
So how do you know it's not 2 days before? How do you know it's 3 days before?
Because there's a fam. We have a custom.
You just said the preparation day before the Sabbath.
Listen, if you read the Bible, you would know there's a preparation day, which is the day before the Sabbath. So why are you asking me if it's 2 days before?
No, you're coming up with your own interpretation. Huh? No. You're coming up with your own interpretation.
How is that my own interpretation?
Luke says he was crucified.
Let me show you the preparation day for the Sabbath.
No, let me finish. Luke said he was crucified on the preparation day. I don't care what you say. Luke said he was crucified on the preparation day and the Sabbath. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? You telling me the day before? That's according to Mark. Now that's another. What's it called?
You need to stick to your own Ishmaelite book. You do not know.
That's what you're trying to say. I don't mind.
Man, just stick to that, man. That's the problem.
Stick to that.
You're never gonna understand this book. You're never ever gonna understand it.
You don't understand as well. You don't understand it. You don't understand it.
All right, cool. Yeah.
That's your problem.
Your Bible is full of contradictions, fabrications.
According to a house who's described as an enemy to the Israelites. No thank you.
No, who describes that?
And the goddamn devil.
No,
who describes it? Who describes that?
Your enemies?
Nah, see.
Would you trust?
Listen, let me finish.
That's my question.
Your Bible,
the enemy, fam. You've made a tumult. Listen, you are part of the same. you, the white man.
I'm not white, man. I'm a black man.
No, you're not listening.
Black
I'm saying,
man.
I'm saying, you ain't black, man. Keep it real. Yeah. So I'm saying, yeah.
What
the
you say?
Ishmaelites, the Edomites, some of the Hamites, yeah, not all of the Hamites, but some of the Hamites, yeah. Hagarenes, all of these people have came together and made a conspiracy to keep us at the bottom. You understand? And it's right there in the scripture, and it's right there in our real life.
Say what you want. Answer the question.
Same thing in Libya, same thing everywhere we go. Yeah, goddamn devils on our case.
No,
you're trying to tell us about
the
our book.
devil.
It wasn't given to you.
Kalam, are you there? Or you?
Okay, your book is your book. So explain your book.
It ain't for you. That's
I don't give a crap if it's not for me. Explain your book.
It's not from you.
Okay.
I don't care.
It's for the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Ishmael.
That's it, man.
All right. Yeah, you guys.
You're just wasting time, bro. You're never gonna understand this. It's not for you, bro.
All right. So, brother Rich Kid, talk to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for all the work you're doing, and thanks for allowing me to present myself on your platform. Even though I'm ill, I don't think it was my best presentation still, but I hope people learned something from what I presented.
Jeez, listen, you're about to put me out of commission. I don't even have to do anything no more. I don't have to present no more information. I'm being 100% serious with you. This is one of the most information-packed presentations and shows that we've had in quite some time. So,
Thanks.
yeah, we need to hook this up. We can get Brother Zion, Lex, and you to actually come on and have a nice. I don't even know. We need to actually hash it out. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Brother Ty as well. I need to holler at you because we need to arrange this thing ASAP because I've spoken to Bob, the builder. We're supposed to, be linking up very soon to actually, do a sit-down debate. We're gonna film it, get a few crews together. We're gonna do something big, right? I'm gonna hook up a university event. It's gonna be private though, and so I actually need to just speak to you on the phone. Hopefully tomorrow, Uncle Ty. I'll get that up and running with you. But yeah, buddy. Has anybody got anything else? Callum, you muted me after all the money I dumped into this platform. Kick rocks, says the Spies Band. Swear down. Apologies to you, King. I didn't even know you was on the show tonight. Didn't even know. So we're sorry for you. But at the same time, money ain't gonna buy your spot in heaven, right? You're on Mount Olympus right now. Yeah, ain't no amount of money can get you up in here. All right, family. Is there anything more that we have to say whilst we're on air? I would really like to shut down the show before it goes on for 5-6 hours.
Yeah, Callum, I just want to say a quick shout out to Brother Ty. My brother, never give up. Keep going, brother.
Oh man. All right, family. Let me shut down the show. We'll continue this conversation, right? So you guys, yeah, salute to you guys in the comment section. How are ya up in there? Middlesex Omar, Farouk Abdul Rahman, King Life, Skyworks, and of course, yeah, let me go back up. Facts and Logic.
Some more lights before you go, Kalam.
Yeah. That's right, man. So family tree, man, if you've really, really enjoyed the show, right? If you really enjoy the show and you would recommend it to other people, please hit up the like button because I think this was absolutely an awesome show. I'm going to be going back. Like, this is the types of show I love because there's source information, there's books to go and buy. Like, every single time I speak to this brother, right, he drops several different books that I'm like, okay, for free? All right, let me go and make that purchase, right? I'm only reading these sources, these certain works. I've only read them in second-hand sources or secondary sources, right? Other authors quoting them. But when you've got it there and you could actually purchase this book and it's got some serious information in there, nah, family, please go back in there, rewatch the show, take some notes, and then, of course, have your Amazon open up, right? And we're going to create an Amazon list from all the sources that the brother has read out today. That was absolutely phenomenal. Anyways, family tree, yeah? Salute to you guys. Callum is a smart person, says facts and logic. Thank you, Callum. You bring the fire and receipts as always. No unity coming from the Black Africa's war coming. Chai. Oh, cool. All right, family tree. I'm going to sign out now, and we're going to continue this off air.
If you guys want the link to join us, please join us over here. But otherwise, y'all already know what it is. Yeah, already. So this person says, "Kind of, you disappeared for half an hour, and now you're going on about the show." Shush, family, shush. I've heard the presentation. That's all that matters. Anyway, I'm gonna sign out now. It's 1:30 in the morning, so let's keep it skipping and let's keep it moving. We're gonna have fun afterwards. Peace and love, family. Peace and love.